Thank you. Like I said, Nnadi is my name. I happen to be Secretary General of the organization called the Lower Niger Congress, but more importantly, co-convener Movement for New Nigeria, which is actually the alliance platform for the South and the Middle Belt, who have now found themselves on the opposite side of all the issues that are driving these protests. Like we saw on the map, which it could come up so that people can see that even the one that is the beginning of the discussion, the end SARS. On one side, the whole of the South, the whole of the Middle Belt wants an end to SARS. But people came out on the other side that have adopted Sharia, that prefer feudalism to democracy, that prefer mediocrity to excellence, to say that they want the SARS that other people are rejecting. As it is with SARS, so it is with the Constitution. This Constitution that is at the center of this debate. They say they want, they insist that the 1999 Constitution must remain the basis of the Union and all of what is done in the Union. Whereas the whole of the South and the whole of the Middle Belt have repudiated that Constitution all the way to solemn assemblies, all the way to everything that needs to be done home and abroad. We saw the Yoruba come out in 60 countries on October 1st, saying that they reject the Union as defined by that Constitution. The unitary union of Nigeria is the reason everything is upside down. So we in those two platforms, the Lower Niger Congress and the Movement for New Nigeria Alliance, which is actually Movement for No Nigeria, the imposition of Sharia by this 12-state contiguity we see in yellow here, has made a union impossible because they owe it a duty of faith to kill the rest in the union. I mean, they impose a constitution that render the rest of the people slaves in the land. We have a master-servant union imposed by the constitution they imposed, and they are holding on to it against everybody else. They've seized all the guns in the land, killing everybody else. They've seized everybody's assets. The Niger Delta oil and gas is seized by that constitution. Niger Delta say we want resource control. They are clinging onto the constitution that sees the assets. Bringing people now to where on the eastern side you see Biafra people say they don't want to be in the union anymore. They may not be able to articulate all the reasons, but they live in it. They don't want. They've lost everything already, and now they are facing the threat of annihilation by people who are on ethnic cleansing mission. And what else can anybody say to anybody? Everybody had called for dialogue on this issue. All this while, since after Aburi of 1967, the demand for national conference had never gone away. Sovereign, the one in which not the government of the day presiding, but the owners of the enterprise, the owners of the land, those who will be countries of their own if Nigeria was not in place. The Yoruba, the Eastern Bloc, the Middle Belt. If you refuse to call a meeting all this while, as everybody wanted, so that these issues could be discussed on a table, around a table, under a roof, the youth, and we're so very proud of them, the Lower Niger Congress and its eminent allies are very proud of the youth of Nigeria for setting up this national conference that everybody have been trying to evade on the streets. And let nobody make any mistakes. Somebody called them lazy. It is now clear they're not as lazy. Somebody may think they know nothing. I can assure our listeners that they know a lot more than most of the people who think they have gray hair to direct them forever. They already identified what the problem is. SARS was became like a metaphor. Everything you see that is wrong with SARS is wrong with INEC, is wrong with NEPA, is wrong with refinery, is wrong with everything that Nigeria should have been. And that constitution is the source of the problem. Whether you are talking about SARS, it is because we have a centralized security system. That's how it came. When you talk about the Fulani herdsmen that are killing people all over the place, is because we have a centralized, security system in which people cannot, the federating units cannot touch any arms because of the exclusive list on that constitution. And so the people being killed in the middle belt, it is this constitution that is responsible for your killing. And your people who are in the Senate swearing to defend and uphold that constitution are part of how you are being killed. The same thing with Niger Delta. The same thing with the people who want Biafra. The same thing with the people who want Odua. So the youth already identified that. They have realized that if they demonstrate for SARS today, they will have to demonstrate for Fulani herdsmen killing the next day. They will have to demonstrate for the constant increase in fuel prices, just because the refineries will not work. And the refineries are not working because refining, the power to refine is on that exclusive list. If it wasn't, there will be petroleum products all over the place. For a country that produces 3 million barrels of crude oil, as it is with petroleum price hike, so it is with the humongous corruption we see every day. Unless that constitution goes down, corruption can only grow, because the constitution of 99 creates avenues for massive corruption and comprehensively protects the beneficiaries of corruption by immunity provision. The same way for infrastructure. The ports are in the hands of people who just came to collect rent. They are not prepared to do anything. And they lock down everybody. 68 items. The elections that we see go upside down every time, are we to come out again to protest about the elections that are in a federation being managed by INEC in Abuja? And in the midst of all this debate, the INEC chairman finds it the best time to roll out election that will happen in 2023 under the constitution that is in dispute, that is being rejected. So all of the things I challenge, we challenge everybody. And this broadcast, I'm sitting less than 5 minutes away. The place I'm sitting now is just about 5 minutes from the epicenter of this national conference.
Okay.
Yes. I'm sitting less than 5 minutes. I just had to come to a way. I could have been doing this program right at the toll gate venue so that people, but the noise will interfere.
Yes.
So I just moved a bit into where we could have some quiet.
Some peace, yeah.
But this broadcast is targeted at those who sit in Abuja, thinking that they've conquered everybody else. That constitution is going to be the dividing line. And nothing will stop this movement. Nothing will stop this protest. Nothing will stop this pushback from these young people whose future had been sold, had been compromised outside a definitive action on that constitution. They must hear, the government must tell them when that source of their misery, source of debt, source of backwardness will be brought to an end. Like South Africa arrived this bus stop in 1990. The starting point in this discussion is to tell them that that constitution is being decommissioned, jettisoned. It's not working. The government must now accept that we have not made a constitution. And that will be the beginning of the discussion. The next thing will then be to tell them that no further elections, because they won't accept it, that a further election will happen under this constitution. They will not accept it. I'm just hinting us because we are in touch with the people. They want us to come and begin to address them. So we said, no, say it the way you understand it, by yourself. Let the whole world hear you. What you reject. All of the things you've been seeing, they say they don't want this, they don't want that, are flowing from that one tap. We must now turn off that tap. The earlier those who think they can conquer them begin to realize that. Like the chief of army staff that says he's going to deploy soldiers. To go and do what? When the soldiers have been chased in the northeast and everywhere else, they were being challenged. You are threatening people who are saying that their life has come to where they can't continue in the pretense that we have a democracy. They can't continue in the pretense that there's a government looking out for them. If we do not meet them halfway, this could be the beginning of the journey to Somalia. They are not going to stop because they now know the full truth that corruption is flowing from that constitution, that impunity is flowing from that constitution, that SARS and all the police brutality and the SWAT that is coming is flowing from that constitution, that fuel increase is flowing from that constitution, that elections that will never be right is flowing from that constitution, because somebody in Abuja is the one who has to determine what happens everywhere in a federation. It ought not to be so.
Yes.
We saw what happened in Imo. Elections were conducted, and one herdsman jumps up in Abuja to say that the winner can no longer be governor, and he announces another to go and take over, and he's standing. We saw what they went doing in the other places that elections are taking place. And so it is not supposed to be so in a federation. So the union, the terms of the union have been compromised fundamentally, and we are now at a point where the owners of the enterprise, the Yoruba as a bloc that could be country of their own, the eastern side that could be Biafra or whatever they choose to call themselves as an independent state, and the middle belt, these three are standing together. I want us to look at that map in all of what we are going to discuss, so that people can understand exactly what is going on. It is worse than apartheid. It is worse than apartheid. In apartheid South Africa, the Boers were at least developing their society. They built systems. They had governance structures. There was rule of law, even if it excluded the blacks from the general benefit. There was the infrastructure was being built. The electricity we do not have is coming from that constitution, because electricity generation and transmission is on that exclusive list. Everything that has been the problem, everything that has choked people to death in Nigeria, that has set their lives upside down, coming from that constitution. And so instead of mopping at every turn, elections happen, you begin to mop because it wasn't right. Electricity fails, you begin to mop because you can't generate it. Corruption happens, you cry and mop again. Say, oh, let's stop. Anybody who says he's fighting corruption under this constitution is either dishonest or ignorant. And this broadcast is targeted more than anybody else at those in Abuja swearing to defend and uphold this apartheid constitution. It is costing lives, it is costing livelihoods, it is derailing the lives of 200 million people. And the only reason why it's standing, especially those from the south and the middle belt, the only reason why that constitution is still standing is that they are participating in managing Nigeria under that constitution.
True.
If they agree with their people that that constitution must now go, this problem will be solved today. And so let it be clear to them that if this problem is not being solved, and it has gotten to the street now, we're holding down all of those who will have escalated it in ways that will become unmanageable. We are telling them that there's a middle ground, that since we've traced the source of the problem, it would have been worse if they didn't know already that the constitution is the problem. They will have imagined that it is just a matter of matching up to those who have ruined their lives and getting rid of them, as we saw in many countries. But we told them, no, that there's a much better way to get to a determinable outcome. That's why they are calm. That's why they're not going to, fall for the provocations coming from everywhere, like the kind of thing the Buratai chose to do, or the one that advertised a date for election in 2023 under the constitution that has rendered people slaves in their land.
Mr. Tony, can I stop you there for a second? Can I show you a video?
Right.
And after the video, I will ask you a very important question. Have a look at this.
Thank you.
At the same time, bring in the Fulanis in one fold and try to arrest their traditional practice of moving from one place to the other. And that is very big, an uphill task. But I think we can communicate with them more, because to them they don't have borders from Cameroon to Nigeria.
But that's the thing, Your Excellency. How do we ensure that those who will be participating in this federal government largely funded program will be Nigerians?
In terms of the funding?
No, in terms of the
operations.
Operations. You said to bring in the Fulanis together. We have Fulanis from other countries
the issue
as well.
of misconception, I say there is a lot of mistrust and misconception with regards to the Fulani man. The Fulani man is a global or an African person. He moves from the Gambia, from Senegal, and his nationality is just a Fulani man. And as a person, I may have my relations in the Cameroon, but they are also Fulani men. I have relations because from the maternal side, I'm a Fulani man. And that is why we want to educate people. A Fulani man sees himself as a Bayelsan, as somebody coming from the Niger Delta, because he speaks the Niger Delta language, which you and I don't. And of course, we would have to just take this as part of our own heritage, something that is African, and that we cannot just close the border and say the Fulani man is just a Nigerian or this. No. In most cases, the crises are precipitated by those outside Nigeria. When there is a reprisal, it is not the Fulani man within Nigeria that causes it. It is that culture of getting revenge, which is embedded in the tradition of the Fulani man, that attracts reprisal from all over the world.
If I understand it, does that mean that those Fulani men who are maybe domiciled in other countries, who move around, they can come into the country and this plan will accommodate them as well?
Yes, that's what we want to do. But it has to be done through sensitization, telling them you have to buy in the project. And you use the language, the culture itself to be able to convince them. Away from the mistrust where the whole system of transhumance or pastoralism is criminalized. Criminalization of pastoralism is the problem that we have with this project. And it requires people with passion who understand them and who they believe in, people like us from that part of the country, to say, yes, we have this. Because today there is no limit to the accusation that this and that has happened and it is the Fulani man who caused it. There is no tribe that is not, that you don't have this criminality in. But certainly the way and manner we do it is really exacerbating the crisis and the problems.
Will there be any form of documentation of all the people that will be,
yes, we are
within that?
Oh yes, that is going to give Nigeria the opportunity to really have the best in terms of documentation in the demographics. Because, as I said, the Fulani man settles anywhere he can feed his cattle. And so, if they are put in one place and they are made to understand that this is to save them and their animals, they are exposed to the vagaries of the forest and what is going on, cattle rustling, killings and what have you, and that's why it is important for them to understand that staying in one place is good. And of course, in terms of the best practice of carrying the meat, the cows and the
let's stay with that security angle for a bit. Is there going to be, this plan going to be a fenced enclosure where anyone who comes in is secured, so there is no one that can just come in from anywhere else?
No. It is going to be a colony, and a colony does not require a fence.
Okay, Mr. Tony, thank you very much for that. I hope you...
Thank you.
Now my question is coming. I'm going to give you a scenario. We have a big building, maybe a big house, apartment, and there's about 4 or 5 different families that live there. And they pay the electricity bill, they pay the water bill, they pay the rent, and some people go to work, bringing money to pay all those things. And some few people are not that resourceful, but they still dominate their house. They control the house. They determine what everybody else takes from the fridge. And on top of that, they keep bringing their families who are not part of that building into that building to come and reside. Not to come and visit, to come and reside. But anytime the other people complain, it becomes a big fight. Do you think the house is not going to explode? Is it only this constitution that is causing the problem? Or they have the ulterior motive of bringing every Fulani from the whole of Mali, Cameroon, Niger, and bringing them to Nigeria so that they can drop their Quran in the ocean? Over to you.
Well, to put it straight, it is this constitution that enables them do all of what they are doing. If this constitution goes down today, they are the end of ability to do that which they are doing,
Okay.
which has now become an undisguised ethnic cleansing campaign. For the first 7 months of 2019, we were in Washington discussing with the US and other stakeholders. Some part of that discussion took place in New York in between, but most importantly, the US was bothered that they were at war with ISIS in the Middle East. And suddenly, ISIS began to move into the Lake Chad region, particularly Nigeria. We recall in 2014 when ISIS and Boko Haram joined forces. We recall that before then, at the peak of the push against Jonathan, he had offered some discussion with Boko Haram, and Boko Haram had nominated Muhammad Buhari as their spokesman in the meeting that was supposed to take place in Saudi Arabia. Now, that same Boko Haram officially merged with the ISIS that was coming, and they became ISWAP. And from becoming ISWAP, 2015 came. They became more forceful. 2015 came. Elections happened. Even as we were shouting and telling everybody that if we went on with the journey to election, like we're again shouting, that if we went to that election, Nigeria will not recover from it. Go back to previous clips. Ask all the TV houses to search the archive, because we saw what was coming, that there was a heavy, convergence of evil. Now, elections happened, and this champion of Boko Haram becomes president. And from there, immediately upon swearing in, the same forces took on a new name, Fulani Herdsmen, and they began to overrun the indigenous communities, particularly across the Middle Belt, killing, maiming, raping, wiping off whole communities, and resettling, renaming some of them. El-Rufai did so much of that, renaming some of those communities and resettling Fulani from everywhere. And so it came to where the President Buhari threw our borders open to invite everybody who could come from everywhere in Africa. Of course, only the Fulani needed to move anywhere, because they are nomads. They don't have any homeland of their own. Their target, like we heard the governor of Bauchi saying in that video, their target is to bring the Fulani from all over Africa and make Nigeria their homeland, not to come and join us. They tell us to our faces that the entire place belongs to them. That is the estate of their great-grandfather, Uthman Danfodio, that they own it all the way to Bayelsa and Boni. And what they are doing now is like, all of you come while we're in charge to take over your own portions of this inheritance of this promised land. Nigeria has become their own promised land, and they are doing this in joint venture with ISIS that is looking for how to establish a caliphate. I can show us what the US has on this subject matter. Here is the map, so that we can understand the depth of what is being discussed, because eventually that constitution remains at the center of how it will be solved. Now, here is West Africa. This is Nigeria, and this is this settlement here is that same Sharia belt, yes, that refuses to agree with everybody else on anything. Yeah. They refuse to agree on union of equal partnership. They refuse to agree that life will be held sacrosanct. They've brought Fulani from everywhere to come to help them overrun the balance of the people in the Middle Belt and the South. And that is the basis of the joint venture between them and ISIS, which has become ISWAP. Now, being invited by the government of the day, because if anybody thinks that there's anybody who does not know that somebody is working with somebody. They say it's farmers and herdsmen clashing. The reason I brought this is that the whole of this West Africa is at risk of becoming that caliphate that they couldn't establish in the Middle East. They only need to complete the overrunning of the rest of Nigeria to come to where they declare that they are caliphate. The ungoverned spaces they call Chad and Niger and northern Mali in all these parts are just waiting for them to complete what they are doing here to take full charge of the resources of Nigeria, the armed, the armories of Nigeria, the treasuries of Nigeria, including the process of oil and gas. They will have access to the Atlantic Ocean, to cause havoc the kind we are seeing from the Somali pirates. And the concern of the U.S., and I'm sure we had the generals talking about, Al-Qaeda that is also coming in to join those who are already here. It is the joint venture between the Fulani and the ISIS to make Nigeria their homeland to the exclusion of the owners of Nigeria, who are now being exterminated. And so we showed the U.S. what was happening to us. You saw when they invited the victims of all of the killings going on in the Middle Belt. We went to Congress, we went to everywhere, went to State Department. The U.S. knows for sure what is going on. And so the matter of farmers and herdsmen clashing, my mind is still on what that Bauchi governor was saying. I'm trying to bring to our people what the issues are, because it has become a question of it has become a question of life or death for the rest of Nigeria. The only reason the Fulani is doing, of course, we had the other day when Buhari in his retreat with his ministers, telling them about all of how Trump asked him in their private meeting, why are you killing Christians in your country? So Washington knows for sure that somebody is presiding over what is happening. There's no farmers, herdsmen clash anywhere. That false narrative have been defeated comprehensively. Those who have to act on it have evidence of what is going on. When the governor of Benue went to cry to the president that people are coming from faraway places to kill people under his watch, and the president says to him, oh, go home and learn how to live in peace with the Fulani of Benue. That was Buhari's answer. His defense minister said, all of you who are built on old cattle routes, development, you better go remove your development. And we had just last week, they are now reintroducing that discussion of how grazing routes, old grazing routes will be reestablished. The Minister of Defense that is supposed to be concerned about foreigners coming in to kill people in the Middle Belt in Benue and Plateau and Southern Kaduna said that they should go and remove their development on the old cattle routes. And who are the ones driving these cattle? Fulani from everywhere. The borders have been thrown open, therefore they can come. And as they are coming in, the national identity management that is also exclusively in the hands of the Fulani, because it is on that exclusive list. As they are coming in, they are documenting them as Nigerians. Millions of them. We saw during the lockdown that they were being shipped to the south in such great numbers, such that the US, that already knew what was going on, had to put Nigeria up on the list of countries of particular concern. Because where that discussion in Washington has led is that the situation unfolding in Nigeria has become the most urgent national security question for the United States. And so, if anybody is here deluding himself that it's just going to be a matter of how they use their army, like Buratai thinks, or their police, like the people who are talking about SWAT instead of SARS, if anybody thinks that it's going to be another domestic matter they're going to deal with, such persons are dead wrong. The executive order of June 2nd of June 2020, signed by Trump, was where, after all the departments of government that ought to be working on what to do to stop ISIS and Al-Qaeda had come to the conclusion that it has become due. It has become a national security priority. That's how it's written in that executive order, to go in there and stop this further advance. They began to move away from farmers and herdsmen clash by saying bandit. There's no bandit anywhere. The bandit is to remove the Fulani from the herdsmen that have been categorized as being among the top 3 in the global terror index. They want to remove that tag, Fulani, herdsmen. So they say it's banditry. Banditry can mean is the Yoruba that have been going to Zamfara to kill people. Banditry can mean is the Ijaw that went to Borno to cause commotion. Banditry can be anybody operating anywhere. Nobody is deceived. Earlier than that, they had also tried to sell the false narrative that it was poverty of the Northeast that brought up, just telling lies, whereas they have a definite agenda of wiping out the populations and bringing in their own people. But back to the subject of the moment, these protests happening also is about those killings. This constitution is the reason all the guns are in the hands of this one small group, and they put themselves in charge of every department of where guns are to be used. And so for the middle belt and all of those in the south who are facing this danger of extermination, the first order of business, the first port of call is to take down that constitution so that we can remove that power of a monopoly over guns from those who have seized it. Those who are talking about Oduduwa Republic and Biafra Republic, if that constitution is not taken down, you are criminalized for even saying so. You can be killed on sight. You can be shot at sight for saying you are fed up. And I don't know who they think they are threatening with all the kind of nasty things we hear coming out of Abuja. But I don't blame them, because they've taken it for granted that Nigerian youths are lazy. They've taken it for granted that people are going to be terrified by the fact that they are coming with guns. Guns are springing up everywhere. We saw what happened in Yoruba land. Amotekun is there. We saw the video in the forest where they were combing their forest with guns. If we do not come when we can to hold a dialogue on what will happen to this union, 3/4 of those you call Nigerians do not understand what you mean. For them, they ask you, what is Nigeria? Nigeria is supposed to be defined by the Constitution of Nigeria, as agreed in Lancaster House. The agreement was toppled in 1966, and that is where we began to impose what became Constitution progressively from 67. Yeah. Today we have all of them collated into the document we call the 1999 Constitution. But if anybody wants to understand the gravity of this question around the Constitution, you go to the preamble of that Constitution. I want the lawyers in the land to listen carefully, the senior advocates, the professors of law. The preamble to the Constitution begins with, we, the people of Nigeria, having firmly resolved to live in unity as one indivisible country. That's how it begins. It means we, the Yoruba, we, the Ijaw, we, the Ogoni, we, the Tiv, we, the Biram, we, the Yoruba, we have solemnly resolved, we have discussed to submit our lands and our people into this union called Nigeria as one indivisible entity. Then it comes at the closing line on that same preamble to say, do hereby enact, make, and give unto ourselves the following constitution. That is, having agreed to be in this union, we have now made this constitution. Those are the two issues of all the things anybody is saying should change. Those are the two issues that have to be resolved as a matter of starting before we begin to talk of the contents. Like the memo and articles of a company are two different documents. The memo creates the company. That is where Johnson, Jude, and James come together to form John James Limited. They are submitting their assets. They are submitting their finances. They are submitting themselves to take risk to be called John James Limited. It is after they've done that in their discussions and agreement that they will go to the next item of writing the one they call articles. The memo creates the company. The articles define the relationships among the owners of the companies. There are two different documents. The problem with Nigeria right now is that the memo that brought us together in 1960 had been toppled by the management. The government is in the position of the management of a company. So the president, the National Assembly, and all of those who are in government in Abuja are only a part of that management team. The hiring process for that management team is called elections. It happens every 4 years. The mandate of the National Assembly does not go to making memo and article. Just like the hired management of a company cannot be discussing the memo and articles of the company over and above the owners of the company. The owners of the company can gather under a mango tree anywhere and dissolve their company if they can no longer take charge of their company. All the discussions of let us go and agree again to be in the union, which was the discussion in Aburi, which was truncated after an agreement was reached in Aburi, and which led us to war, which has now led us to this constitution, in which the constitution we have on the table is the victory charter from that war. We all know how it came in 1975, that Murtala Mohammed chalked off Gowon and commissioned the writing of a draft that will become constitution. All of what they imposed by brigandage from that war. The states they have created in place of the regions. Because like you alluded to in your intro, Ahmadu Bello rejected, and the Northern delegation rejected, they rejected the independence in 1953,
yeah.
When Enohoro moved the motion. And by the way, to the memory of Chief Enohoro, he was one of the 9 co-conveners of Movement for New Nigeria, which was an enforcement of the Pronaco decision to take Nigeria right back to being a federation or to dismantle. In the background of that Movement for New Nigeria is also the objective of Movement for No Nigeria. If anybody says we can no longer be a union of equal partnership, if anybody says he will owe it a right to kill the rest as infidels, because that's what the Sharia, the 12 contiguous states imposed Sharia simultaneously in year 2000 and began to enforce it. And they are now threatening to spread it everywhere. They've changed all the institutions. Look at the people who are heading all the institutions of federal government. Look at the kind of things coming out from their mouth. Look at what they've done with our education system. And they think we have a Nigeria. Nigeria, the Federation of Nigeria died in 1966. The attempt to revive it in Aburi was truncated by people who began to do things by force and imposition. And what we have now, which they call one Nigeria, there are two different things. Nigeria, nobody's opposed to Nigeria. It is one Nigeria that emerged from brigandage that is being rejected. It is that one Nigeria that is defined by this constitution. The meaning of one Nigeria is the Nigeria owned by Fulani. If anybody is still in confusion in their mind, let that person wake up from slumber, because Fulani is not content with being in charge. They've seized everybody's assets. They've seized everybody's rights. We can't generate electricity to run our lives because they put it on the exclusive list. We can't do our roads, we can't do our railways, we can't do our ports. We can't do anything for ourselves. We can't even elect who will govern us. We can't incorporate a company to do business. Everything you need to do, you have to go to get licensed. And then, because they've seized all the assets, remove allocations from Dangote, richest man in Africa. They allocate the port of Lagos to Dangote. He's building a refinery. Where would the crude come from? They allocate the limestone of Middle Belt, and everywhere they find limestone to Dangote. He's producing cement at everybody else's cost. And so what we have is a sovereignty dispute that has arisen. The way to approach it, because those who are on the receiving side of this 60 years of brigandage are not going to take it anymore. And that's why we're happy that these young people found a starting point in what came directly at them all the while they were being misled. Some people say, oh, good leadership. There's no possibility of any good leadership under this constitution, because the thing you will expect to be the modalities for a country that will get good leadership have been compromised by that constitution. And I can go to specifics. Section 6, subsection 6C. I'm talking to the lawyers in the land now, and all of those who do not know, but who think they know. Section 6, subsection 6C of the Constitution of Nigeria relieves the government of responsibility towards the citizen, governments at all tiers, by the implication of the contents of that clause in that section 6, subsection 6C, because that clause negates the entire chapter 2, where all the benefits of the citizen under the social contract. You are submitting your sovereignty, your life, your assets into a union so that you can get protection, you can have an economy, you can have a safe space, you can relate to the rest of the world as a citizen of Nigeria. All of the good things meant for the citizen. Hospital, school, road, equal opportunity that are in chapter 2 are truncated by the provision of section 6, subsection 6C, which says you cannot ask whether those things are done, or they render them non-justiciable. That's the lawyer's language. But the simple meaning is that the government of Nigeria are absorbed, federal and states, they are absorbed of responsibility towards you, the citizen. These young people on the street have understood that. They now realize that, oh, all the while we were waiting for government to come and do this and do that, the Constitution actually empowers them not to, because you cannot ask them to. You come to section 6, subsection 6D. We're talking about impunity. There's a date written into that, section 6, subsection 6D. I want the journalists in our midst, I want the young people wherever they are to confront the lawyers in the land, whether these things are not so. And if they are so, why are they keeping it for another day? That's section 6.
Mr. Tony, can I stop you again?
Yes.
Can I stop you again?
Yes.
You're talking about the journalists in the land in Nigeria.
Yes.
They are part of the problems.
That's what I'm saying now. We are challenging them openly to confront the lawyers who have been going about saying they fight for some of them say they are human rights activists, others say they make all kinds of claims. Junior advocate. You know, these people, and these are things I have, let me not say we, so that it can be more specific, so that if anybody tries to deny, we'll come public to show how it happened. There's no one of them we did not go to as individual, and then the Bar Association, when Olisa Bakoba emerged president. From that point, this alliance of the eminent had gone to them to explain to them that all of the things worrying everybody in Nigeria flow from this constitution. Like that section 6D that I'm talking about, creates a 33-year period of immunity for all of those who bastardize Nigerian Federation. It has a date written in it. It says everything done in the name of government from the 15th day of January 1966 to the 29th of May 1999. That's 33-year period. Everything done in the name of government is they are put beyond the powers of court to inquire into, meaning that simply that nobody can question or reverse or call to question in any form all the things that were done in that period. Do you know what that means? That is blanket immunity for all the atrocities committed, including those who seized the assets of others, who are still sitting on those assets, including those who killed people in the manner they shouldn't have killed them, including everything that have now made them bigger than state. They have more money than the governments of today, because they accumulated money in those 33 years. They have much more money than any government of the day can. And they're the ones who determine who goes to contest the election, who will win.
The Godfathers.
And so with that immunity that covers for that period, the people they install also have immunity in section 308, whereby You cannot question president or governor for anything that is taken away from the treasury in all the time they will be in office. And then you come to the appropriation provisions. Section 81 requires the president of Nigeria to go to obtain permission. I'm now getting to the foundation of corruption. Section 81 requires the president to go to National Assembly to take money from the treasury. Section 82 permits the same president to run government spending money guided by what was approved for the subject matter the year before. That means the spare key of the treasury is in the hand of the president to take whatever he finds there under those provisions. As it is for the president, so it is for the governors in section 121 and 122. The governors have spare keys to the treasury and so can take all the monies in the treasury as long as they find a way to do the paperwork to conform with the provision there. Say, look, you just go and take and run government. And so anybody who is talking about fighting corruption under this constitution is an outright criminal. I say so. And if the person wants a debate, the LNC and the MNN Alliance will be having what we call union debates in the days to come to discuss this national conference that has started on the streets. So that if you say you want to give people security, we will show you the provisions that make it impossible. And if you know that that is what it is, and you keep promising them, you give them what you cannot, like the governors. No governor can license one rifle under this constitution. So those who are forming all kinds of things, vigilante here, vigilante there, everything is still subjected to what the police will control.
Yeah.
And as it is with that, so it is with electricity. You cannot generate or transmit. Oji River Power Plant was built by government of Eastern Region, knowing that Port Harcourt, Aba, Nnewi, Onitsha will require electricity. Since they put that electricity on exclusive list, Oji River that runs on coal-fired plants have been shut down. As I speak, there's no single electricity plant in any part of Igbo land. Not one. The effort by Nnadi to set up something in Aloji that will power Aba back have been frustrated to date. And we're hearing about plants that are being built somewhere everywhere else. And young people who cannot understand why their lives have been turned so much upside down stand up and say they are fed up with Nigeria, they want Biafra. And all you can do is to go around shooting at them and killing them. The union is now unworkable, totally unworkable, and there's nothing that can be fixed in it as long as this constitution is in place. The first order of business is to remove this constitution. Every other thing can then follow. The next thing that will happen, if the government wakes up from its slumber to tell itself the truth, that this constitution has brought this union to an end, as we speak, because we went to court in 2007 after Pronaco. Pronaco was where we called a meeting of all the owners of Nigeria, the nationalities that own Nigeria. We said, look, the British have gone away a long time ago. Why can't we sit down and look at this issue dispassionately one more time? Enohoro, Shoyinka, Ojukwu, Belko, Ransom Kuti, all of them rallied around that proposition and were able to summon a meeting of the owners of Nigeria, the one they call Pronaco, 2005. 164 ethnic delegations were in attendance. I was at the heart of it. I was secretary of the harmonization committee that took the memoranda from those delegations. I was also at the end secretary of the constitution drafting committee that produced the draft people's constitution that came from that would have taken us back to being a federation. That committee was chaired by Professor Jadeshola Akode. Chief Solomon Asemota, who is still there now, was vice chairman of that committee. There were 9 of us, and I was secretary. Now, everything we lost in Aburi were now revalidated and written down from a conference, a sovereign conference of the peoples of Nigeria. Muhammad Buhari was part of the Fulani delegation that came to that conference. Sayyid Abubakar, who is now Sultan in Sokoto, was part of the Fulani delegation that came as the country was discussing. And when we finished, Buhari came to tell us he wanted to contest the election so that he could enforce what we had agreed upon. And of course, we told him that it is not matter for government or who will win election. Let us first address the matter of how we move away from the constitution that makes everything impossible. You will only be one president. There will be 36 governors. There will be several senators, 109. There will be 360 House members, each of them having won their own election. How are you going to begin to convince them that the constitution that create their states, because the 36 states we now have were also products of brigandage, of creating states and creating more states because there's stolen money to be shared. The 704 local government areas we have, where Kano alone has 44, and Bayelsa, from where the oil money must be taken, has 8. And somebody is sitting and hoping that it will be left like that. This constitution has become the dividing line between light and darkness in this land. This constitution will in the coming days be the dividing line between what these young people want and what those who have kept them in bondage for these years have been doing, including, most importantly, the people from their own parts of the country. The quarrel will no longer be that Fulani came from Mali to kill in Benue. The new quarrel is that my cousin is senator representing me, but swearing to defend and uphold a constitution that enslaved me, that exposed me to death. That cousin may be planning to go to contest another election in 2023. I will not be looking for any other enemy than anyone that can be identified on the side of this constitution. All of those in the National Assembly should pay particular attention. All of those in government houses in the south and middle belt of Nigeria, because they all swore to defend and uphold this constitution. All of those doing political party in Nigeria today, those political parties subscribe to this constitution. Those political parties will be the ones fielding candidates in 2023, as Mahmoud has invited them. Whoever wins that election, it doesn't matter whether it's my twin brother, whoever wins that election, especially for the ones being told it's the turn of Igbo to go and produce president. Anybody who wins the election will have to swear to and govern by this constitution. That means I will remain the slave I am. My assets will be detained the way it is detained. The guns will remain in the hands of those who have sworn to exterminate the rest of us. That is what will happen if another election goes on under this constitution. Therefore, these young people will be interested in finding out who amongst us, who from eastern Nigeria, who from Yoruba land, who from the middle belt is part of trying to sustain this constitution by taking it to another, going to another election under it. And therefore their demand in the coming days, the demand of this protest will eventually come to like, let us turn off the tap, because corruption is flowing from this constitution. Insecurity and the killings going on is flowing from this constitution. Electricity that is not available and will never be available is flowing from this constitution. The fuel prices, I'm ashamed of the labor movement that has not taken time to find out where their miseries are coming from. Every day they go and ask for, just some marginal increase in how much they are paid. What will happen to the rest of the country if you go? And that's why these young people are ignoring all of you who have been pretending to be talking for them all the while, because you never bothered how they will get employment. They've done their part. They've gone to school. They've qualified. There are no jobs. They now want to struggle for themselves. When some of them begin to, the ones who are chasing them about do not know that the information technology age has made it possible for a lot of people to do a lot of things, even with nothing in terms of startup capital. You only need is a knowledge-driven world we are in now. Some of them earn much more money than all the ones who have been, building factories. And then they buy, they're in some comfort, and then you grab them and say, oh, who are you to have it? And you kill them for trying to succeed in an environment you have choked. It has come to an end. We're not saying it will come to an end. It has come to an end. The people who have not yet gone to join them on the streets are waiting for the first person that will come shooting at them. You will have to kill 150 million people. This constitution, if we accept what the problem is today, we still have a chance. The alliance can stand in the middle to say, let us irrevocably commit, like South Africa did under the courageous leadership of Frederick de Klerk in 1990, to accept that the apartheid constitution could no longer carry the society. After 80 years, apartheid was introduced in 1910, and that announcement was made in 1990. There's no difference between the apartheid constitution of South Africa and what we have here. The Fulani imposed this, the Boers imposed the South African model. The owners of the land, the blacks of South Africa, were excluded from everything. Their properties now belonged to these Boers. They could kill them, they were just slaves. You could do anything with your slaves. That's what Nigeria has become for the rest of Nigeria in the hands of these arrogant, murderous people. And as we speak, not only Boko Haram, Buhari remains the grand patron of Miyetti Allah. Miyetti Allah have been speaking for and claiming credit for what Fulani herdsmen have been doing. That's not in the hiding. It came to where government will find occasion to sit down with Miyetti Allah and take 100 billion from the treasury to give to Miyetti Allah.
To pay bandits.
Under the watch of a Fulani president. A Miyetti Allah that is claiming responsibility for the achievements of Fulani herdsmen. And you've heard what that governor there is saying. You saw El Rufai, the one that is presiding over the genocide in southern Kaduna. You saw El Rufai telling us that he had gone to 14 different countries to give those who are coming to kill people under his watch money to stop coming to kill. That's his only response. And we have seen what he has done in the last 1 year plus in southern Kaduna, just shutting the place down with, what do they call curfew, and then moving in his people to go and kill people in the numbers we have seen. All the details of this things I'm telling us now are in Washington. Let nobody make any mistakes. If anybody wants to know what Washington knows, that person should go and read that executive order of June 2. That person should then begin to see that all of these lies we've been feeding ourselves with, you shut down history. You thought that these young people will never know. You do not know that the internet is there to bring back what you were hiding. All of what's happened have been excavated. Some of them had the discipline to come to listen when we began to invite them to listen. And what we have now is that they insist that that tap must be turned off at this time. If we're not turning off the tap, we can forget the union. There's a map. You see now that on one side, everybody's agreed that this cannot continue. Then people turn up on the other side, go back to that map. This is NSAS going on. And the other one say, keep SARS. Their governors are going to meet with the president to say, oh yes, we want SARS to continue. As it is with SARS, so it is with the constitution that we are rejecting. They say it is non-negotiable. So it is with every other thing that could have made this society, better. And if you have a joint project in which a construction site, Nigeria is like a construction site in which 75% of those on that construction site are disputing the project itself. They don't want their land to be included in that project. We must now do what South Africa did in 1990 by accepting that this constitution cannot remain basis, and it's not a matter of promise. That announcement must come from the president before this protest can come to where something is now being negotiated or discussed. Secondly, a definite announcement that no further elections will happen under this constitution must be made. The constitutional force majeure that many people have been hearing about, the constitution is social contract. The social contract has been truncated from the point the 5 constitutions that define the union were thrown away and replaced by one constitution, which Murtala Mohammed commissioned in 1975. He called in, just to let those who didn't know to know, he called in Rotimi Williams, who in turn brought in Ben Wabese. It was between the two that the instructions of Murtala Mohammed got, scripted into a draft constitution. It was that draft that went before the Constituent Assembly of 1977. The Constituent Assembly of 75 of Murtala Mohammed got killed in 76, but the draft was ready. And Obasanjo now carried on with that draft, summoning a Constituent Assembly. The Constituent Assembly of 1977 did not accept the retention of the states that were created, which damaged the basis of the federation. Nigerian Federation was a federation of 4 regions, 4 autonomous regions, as defined by the demands of Ahmadu Bello in 1953, because Ahmadu Bello listed 8 items of what must be in place before the northern region can have sufficient comfort to be part of the union. It was those 8 things Ahmadu Bello listed that defined the depth of autonomy for the regions. The regions owned their assets and contributed only 15%, 15 as in 1/5, to the center for the upkeep of the center and the common services assigned the center to do on behalf of all. The regions could do, they were in charge of their security, they were in charge of all kinds of things. The army in the region, the governor of the region could talk to the commander of the army and things would begin to happen. The premier of the region could call the police head and then things will begin to happen. Today, everybody has to wait for Abuja. Not even the governor of your state can command a constable that has a gun. So we are now living in an inverted federation. The federal government hijacked the assets, the sovereignties, the resources, the powers. That's what they've loaded into that exclusive list of the federating units. And in breaking them down into states that began with 12 in 1967, we now have 36. One region of 4 has now become 19 states and federal capital territory. The other 3 regions have been compressed into 17 states or so. And what do you have from that? That one region can dictate to anybody whatever they want to dictate on account of the representation in the place of decision. They were hoping they would say, oh, come, let us do amendment.
Tony,
yes.
Can I ask you one question? One sincere question.
Yes.
Have you just wake up from your slumber? Because this kind of information you're pumping out now is different, completely full. This will make everybody wake up. Have you just wake up from your slumber and pumping out this information? Have you gone for mock training?
No, there's nothing I've said here that had not been said a million times in the public space. If anybody doubts it, all of you have your telephones that have internet access. Click the title, Unraveling the Foundations of the Caliphate Prison. You will see where this has been said, and you look at the dates. If you go on YouTube, search with Lower Niger Congress, YouTube, you will see no less than 50 videos, not of Tony Nnadi talking from the house, of things that happened on AIT, on NTA, on channels, on Silverbird, on TVC, in the international arena. There's nothing I said here that was not said in the courtroom in South Africa in 2019 during the trial of Henry Oka.
Okay, just give me 1 minute. Let me speak to the people at home quickly. Listen, gentlemen, if you're just joining us, please, and please, and please, this is very, very important. Sign this petition now. Let the petition skyrocket, because without that petition, the constitution might not change. Without the constitution change, you cannot even break Nigeria. You can't break it because it's on exclusive list. Don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. Don't go there at all. So there are steps that we have to take. If we have to go after our representation to justify it a little bit, please, let's go after them. Let's go to that man's house in Lagos, the one that takes the Bullion vans to his house. the one that is richer than some states. Let's go after the northern oligarch. Let's go after the one in the east that put us into this problem originally. The people that are clamoring for one Nigeria is one Fulani government. It's not going to help me. It's not going to help you. Tomorrow, which is Saturday and Sunday, please support this youth with whatever you can support them with. If you have water, bring water to the venue. If you have snacks, bring snacks to the venue. But anything you're bringing, make sure it's sealed. We don't want you to bring open water out because we know what you guys can do. Yes? Or we don't even want your water. Give them money. Donate money to them so that they can go and buy the water themselves. If you want to give them food, donate the money. We don't want your water. No, we don't want your water. So we are coming out in full force to support this youth demand. I will be there to broadcast whatever they're doing. I'm not going to change their narrative. We don't want anybody to come there and hijack what they were doing. No, that's not what we want. What we want is to support them totally. The petition is going to be pinned to the bottom. Please, I want it to skyrocket today. Let it go flying like an eagle. Let it soar like an eagle. The petition. So that we can start working together with so many other organizations to force the change to this constitution. Because without this constitution being put down completely, we are not going anywhere. Let us not be deceived. Because it's been hammered. Everything is on exclusive list. Very soon, you can't even sleep in your house. Your house will be exclusive list. Very soon, you cannot even eat the food you want. Yoruba will not be allowed to eat bread and beans again. They will tell you it's on exclusive list. Yes. The Igbos might not be able to eat Isewu anymore, even though Yoruba like to eat Isewu as well. You understand? The Bende might not be allowed to eat Edkakor anymore. The Calabas might not be able to eat all this.
That would be a disaster. That would be a disaster.
Unless you get up now and do it now. Let me tell you one thing. You might not even be able to have babies. It might be on exclusive list. Because what is on exclusive list currently, why the youth rise up, is that you can't have tattoo, you can't have dreadlock. The SARS will come after you. It's exclusive list. So it's true. It's
now,
true.
To tell you how bad the situation is, having seized all the economic assets for themselves, they now target this water waste control bill.
Yeah.
What it targets to do is to seize all bodies of water in Nigeria, whether it's the ocean or the rivers or the streams in your villages. If now will belong to, under that bill, all of that will belong to the federal government, with the adjoining 6 kilometers of land to the left and right of that body of water. All of us, let's close our eyes for a minute and think of that stream in our village, that river by our locations. Take 6 kilometers to the left and right. That is what will become federal government asset. And we now know that the federal government have been hijacked by this minority that is now bringing Fulani from everywhere to come and join them. The Ruga you've been running away from will be set up in hundreds and hundreds of locations on the banks of all rivers and waters. Anybody from South and Middle Belt of Nigeria still sitting in that National Assembly, we're not asking whether they voted for or against. Their mere presence in that National Assembly will be the reason they will be held accountable by their own people for validating. We're not saying they voted for. We're saying it is because they are there that that discussion is taking place. All of those being killed in the Middle Belt, it is because senators and House members from Southern Nigeria and Middle Belt of Nigeria are sitting in that National Assembly pretending we have a democracy. If this matter snaps, and I can assure you it will snap, if this matter snaps, all of those people who are found on the side of that constitution, who have sworn to defend and uphold this constitution, who are planning, who are doing political party under this constitution, because they all subscribe to this constitution, The fact that you are doing political party, whether it's APP or PDP or APC, makes you somebody on the side of this constitution. And all of the calamities and catastrophes flowing from this constitution will be attributed to your being on the side of this constitution. Whether you've already been elected or you are planning to be elected under this constitution. Imagine what Oliver Tambo or Nelson Mandela or Walter Sisulu or even the younger ones will have done in 1988 if at the time apartheid constitution was already going down. You found black South Africans who are invited by the Boers to come and join them in sustaining that apartheid. Imagine what Chris Hani would have done with such black people. That's what these young people are going to do with all of you from the South and the Middle Belt who are doing political party under this constitution, who are planning to contest election under this constitution, who are swearing to defend this constitution as condition for entering into office. Nothing will change from the gathering that is mandated by this constitution. No matter who you bring to head the government, no matter who you send to Senate, it is just a matter of sustaining the apartheid order in which people tell you to your faces that they are born to rule you. People owe it a duty of faith to kill you, and you are there standing and waiting to be killed. People invite their kinsmen from all over the place to take over your ancestral spaces, to exterminate you, so that there will be no future challenge. And you are standing there talking about democracy. And what is democracy? If democracy is government of the people, by the people, for the people, it is like the foundation of a house, the vertical columns, and the roof. The Nigerian democracy does not pass any of these three legs of text, because government of the people means that the people in exercise of their sovereignty, as you find in section 14.2a, 14 subsection 2a, all these sections I'm citing, let the journalists in the land, let the young people confront the lawyers who have been going about pretending they are speaking for them with those specifics. Section 14, subsection 2a says, sovereignty belongs to the people, from whom government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. I'm quoting now. I've not added, I've not subtracted. Sovereignty belongs to the people, from whom government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. It is in the pretense that it is the people, the Yoruba, the Ijaw, the Ogoni, the Berom, that made the constitution. It is in the pretense of satisfying that fundamental universal requirement that the soldiers, Salam Abaka and his co-travelers, inserted in that preamble that we, the people, have solemnly resolved to submit ourselves into this union. It never happened. Unfortunately for them, the way God works, God knew that this day will come, and he made an escape route available. The same people brought this constitution to be via decree number 24 of 1999. That decree number 24 of 1999, I'm sure you can see it. That decree number 24 of 1999 told the story of how the constitution came about. Absalom Abubakar telling the story. Say he set up a committee that went around to ask people what they wanted, and most people wanted a return to 1979 arrangement. Oh, I didn't finish the story of 77 that became 79 constitution. Constituent Assembly rejected those states as basis of union. They wanted a return to the federating unit so that we can restore our federation. Constituent Assembly did not accept presidential system because it will accumulate power. All the things that Constituent Assembly wanted changed. The clean copy of their report was submitted to Obasanjo, who was then head of state, on the 21st of September in 1978. These are specifics now. Let the journalists in the lands find out whether it is so or not so. On the 21st of September in 1978, Obasanjo went on national broadcast to introduce 17 amendments to the finished work of the Constituent Assembly. which became baptized as 1979 Constitution. And therefore, it wasn't an act of the people as claimed in the preamble to the 1979 Constitution. It was the military, the Supreme Military Council headed by Obasanjo, that imposed what came out as 1979 Constitution, even with all the suggestions of the Constituent Assembly, which got jettisoned. And so, in adopting the 1979 as 99, because that they only added the states they created between 79 and 99 into, there's no difference between this and the 1979 edition. And therefore, it was imposition from beginning. Everything we lament now, I've challenged all kinds of people, the LNC have challenged all kinds of people chanting one thing or the other to say, look, tell me what the problem is, and I'll show you the provision in the Constitution that sustains it. And as long as the tap is running, you mop in vain. If corruption is flowing from that tap, and you are mopping to say you are fighting corruption, leaving the tap on, leaving the Constitution on, you are deceiving yourself. If the killings are happening because the guns are in the hands of one part only, and you leave that Constitution and say you are fighting insecurity in Nigeria, you are a criminal. You are dishonest. If the infrastructural decay, I was in the oil industry, I can tell you a thing or two about how electricity is generated. The only reason why Nigeria is still discussing 4,000 and 5,000 and 10,000 megawatts of electricity for 200 million people is because that right to generate electricity is sequestered. And no matter what they tell you about what they are planning to do with electricity, nobody in his right mind will take $5 billion or $10 billion of other people's money to come and invest in the gamble of trying to provide electricity in Nigeria. That's why all the MOUs of General Electric come and build for us. Nobody is coming to build electricity for you unless you take down this Constitution. And there's no development that is possible without electricity. As it is for electricity, so it is with the port. Can we see what has happened to our Apapa port? Why will the port of Port Harcourt was property of Eastern region. If Nigeria were to cease to be today, is it people from Sokoto or Kano that will come and own the waters of Lagos to now be controllers of the port? And every now and then you gather and dance your festival. When Gambari, when people who are strangers, more strangers than even the British that came, have become the owners of the waters. Look at who is who is Controller General from independence to date. Has there been one Yoruba Controller General of Customs? Is there nobody in Yoruba land that is qualified to collect the rents at the ports, which the customs do on behalf of the Federation of Nigeria? How did we come about Ahmadu Bello being the name of the street that runs from front of Bonicamp to front of Eko Hotel? Have they not dipped their Quran inside your waters? Are you waiting to be killed all before you come to the realization that something is happening? And people are asking you to go and get PVC to go and vote in election. For the men of God in the land, we went round talking to them quietly, thinking that there could be a Bishop Tutu amongst them. We didn't find any. For 10 years plus, we didn't find any. We went to them without exception. Is there anyone who can see that the flock will die if these things are not resolved, so that they can join hands with us to take down this source of evil? Nobody will listen. That constitution has brought them to where Kama, the law regulating companies and allied matters in Nigeria, has been altered. And the church can now be decapitated by these caliphate forces. That was when it became clear to them that trouble has come, because it has landed on their head. Before then, it didn't matter. Private jet, private university was more important. And the people that come to cry to you every day are facing the threat of death. As it is with the men of God, so is it with the civil society people. Oh, some say we are society against corruption. Oh, we are society against iniquity. All kinds of things. These are dishonest people because we engage them. I could call names, but that would be for another day. All of them without exception. We told them what the problem was. They were benefiting from the blood of the dying people. Grants they get. That's all that is important to them. Let us turn off the tap. They say, no, don't go there. It's political demand. Do I look like, all this, do they sound like political talk? PDP, APC, ABGA, they are all together in subscribing to this evil. These young people are not going to make any distinction between any of you. Your offense will be that you are one of those doing political party under this constitution, planning to go to election. So very quickly, some of the terminologies that will define this discussion, the people talking about restructuring, let us break it down. Restructuring simply means, like in a building, reconstruction. Reconstruction can end with a totally new building design from scratch. It can mean, instead of having one building, you have several bungalows. Instead of having a 10-story structure, the land is big enough, you have 4 different buildings. That's reconstruction because the existing structure will be taken down for a start. You have to remove this foundation. We are building on a foundation of fraud. We did not make this constitution, and they say we made it on account of that false claim. They sell 3 million barrels of crude oil. They take over the assets of everybody everywhere. They have the power of life and death over everybody trapped here. Nigeria has become an entrapment for those you call Nigerians. And so the matter of restructuring can end with 100% autonomy for those who want Oodua Republic or Biafra Republic if they go to referendum. Because by the time this constitution is taken down, 2 things will then have to happen. We have to resolve those 2 issues raised by the preamble. That was what Bolage was trying to explain to everybody, that the sovereign conference that is being demanded is to determine 2 things in the order of one before the next. 1, whether we want to continue in the union. Yoruba already has before their state assemblies a bill for referendum to determine whether Yoruba want to recommit to the union, because the collapse of this constitution is the end of union. Let nobody make any mistake about that, because it is on account of this constitution that your land is described as Nigeria today. The key to taking back your land is to remove this constitution. That's how close you are to your salvation. This constitution goes down, the unitary union it creates goes down with it. We're not anarchists, so we say let those in government house remain for the short period. We'll have to have the discussion like South Africa did. And so we are at that point now. The next thing will be, first, for those that will federate, to recommit, and it can only be by referendum. In fact, Yoruba said they will not be available for any discussion on Nigeria if their people have not voted in their internal referendum, and that they will not meet with any other group where referendum had not mandated a recommitment to the union. So whether it's the East or the West, it has to be by referendum. It is after they will recommit to being in the union that will now go to the question of determining the terms of the union, like the memo that is first done before the article can become subject of discussion. So restructuring can actually mean that we can go back to being a federation. We can go back to we can become a confederation. We can also agree that the clash of civilizations imposed by Sharia and feudalism has made it impossible for any union to be, and therefore it will be independent units emerging. But it will be all products of referendums. If anybody wants to know the details, there is an open memorandum on restructuring written the President, Muhammadu Buhari, on November 16, 2018. Guardian newspaper reported it on the 18th of November 2018. November 16, 2018, open memorandum to President Buhari by this MNN alliance, detailing what should happen if we want to solve this problem, which people now call restructuring. That's fundamental reconfiguration of the constitutional basis of Nigeria. So let those who hear restructuring first go make reference to finding out how it is to be undertaken, because we've detailed it to the last step from the point you begin. It can yield federation, it can yield confederation, it can yield independent units. That's for restructuring. Referendum is the mechanism for determining what the choice of the people is on any subject, including this matter, when it goes to them to decide whether they want to remain in the union and on what terms, in the sequence of one before the other. So if anybody is hoping to call a national conference for how we begin to discuss this matter, let the person perish the thought. That prank has been played too many times. If anybody is thinking that National Assembly will come and begin to do amendments, no alphabet will be taken from this constitution, not one alphabet. The union erected by this constitution is a fraud against all of those who are trapped here. National Assembly, in insisting that they are the ones who have to decide for us now, they are actually appropriating our sovereignty illicitly. They are committing treason against the rest of us in furtherance of the one Absalami committed in 1999 by putting our signature on a document we didn't make, a document of damnation. And so that will not happen. Not National Assembly, not National Conference. And in the referendum we're talking about, only the territories that are fed up with Nigeria will be going to their referendum. Yoruba will go to referendum in their own space. We saw when the Scotland was fed up with UK. Was it the whole of the UK that was voting for the ACA that is talking about the referendum on one Nigeria where everybody will be voting? Are we to begin to teach them afresh that referendum will refer to only the people who are saying they're fed up? In the eastern part, they will go to their own referendum. In the Yoruba part, they will go to their own referendum. In the middle belt, according to the maps they've made out. And as I speak with you, all of the discussions have been going on for a long time. You saw the solemn assemblies that happened in Port Harcourt in 2015, where the George Ogoni, the Anang, the Efik came under one roof with the Igbo to say they will have a charter of relationships by which they could become a block of 70 million people to deal with the rest of Nigeria and the rest of the world, in whichever their people be voting, in whatever level of autonomy their people will be ready to accept. As it is in that part, we saw the Yoruba going to Solomon Assembly in Ibadan, Adamasingba on the 7th of September. What did they all decide? They reject this constitution they repudiate this constitution as basis of union. They insist that something else that will be a product of their people by referendum will have to replace this. And then we saw on the 18th of July in 2018, the day the plane carrying Edwin Clark and Nwodo was not allowed to land in Makurdi, that was the day the Middle Belt did their own. So these three blocks have formally repudiated this constitution by the 11th of December in 2018. The three blocks gathered in Lagos in what they call the Freedom Park Proclamation to say that they will not submit to any further national elections under this constitution. Of course, the politicians ignored them for the moment and went on to 2019 election. Because the populace hadn't heard this, all of what we would have been doing to stop them, we didn't, we said, okay, let's give some more time to let this information get out. The information has gotten out. Young people now see that there's a way to save themselves from calamity, from death, from ruin. Go overseas, we travel quite a bit, and you see our people who are stranded all over the world, being treated like criminals everywhere they turn up, because Nigeria is the way it is. All of them are behind this movement now to say we must take back our sovereignty from Nigeria that has confiscated it. If we want a union, let's go and discuss and have a union. If we're not having a union, we're not going to keep this union of master and servant another season. That's where we are. And self-determination, some of us have given a narrow construction to it in terms of meaning. Self-determination simply means to decide for yourself how you live in your space. Luckily for all of us, and I was directly involved in how it came, there's an instrument from the United Nations that settles this matter in our favor. It came in 2007. It's called United Nations Declaration on Rights of Indigenous Peoples. Under this instrument, if you are a distinct nationality on your ancestral space, you're entitled to be there by yourself, to fend for yourself. It doesn't matter how you came into any union with anybody else. If anybody wants to be in union with you, the person has to convince you. If you're not convinced, the person has to dress back from you somehow. It was after we finished Monaco and we were thinking of how to enforce our decisions. I had to call Soyinka, Professor Soyinka. This instrument will go down as one of his greatest achievements. People don't know what has changed. If you are Yoruba under this instrument, you can be in your ancestral space. If Nigeria wants to be in union with you, Nigeria has to convince you. As it is with the Yoruba, so it is with the Ijaw, so it is with the Ogoni, and that's what we're telling our brothers in the East who are talking about Biafra. That the reason the LNC went for the map of 1885, which spell out where, here is that map. Because this matter is of equal interest to all the South and Middle Belt. In the eastern part, the map you see here is the one showing the 6 broad ethno-linguistic groups that could become the Federation of Lower Niger. They could adopt any name when they've gone to referendum to be one country, but it will be in accordance with the self-determination rights of the Ijaw, the Ogoni, the Anang, the Efik, the Bini. That was what they decided in their solemn assembly. They adopted this map as basis of dealing with the rest of Nigeria, with internal cohesion between all the blocks, so that what happened in Biafra will not happen again. Everybody will be union of equal partner, not one in which there could be some supreme leader of people coming to jump into a just space. That's what they are rejecting. Not the people who are saying they don't want the Biafra, the one that have been. So I'm just touching on all the parts. The Middle Belt, please know it for sure that the choice is to take down this constitution and leave, to end the union of master and servant owned by the Fulani and leave. If you want to keep Nigeria one, like Gowon invited all of you to do a long time ago, killing 3.5 million people to keep Nigeria one, if you want to keep Nigeria one, you are preserving it for Fulani to inherit, to exterminate you, and to colonize those who will then be surrendering if they are not killed. That's the only thing. Anybody telling you any other thing is just deceiving you. That's what's going on. The global community already knows that. They are coming in to sort out their own issues of the ISIS that is reinforcing to come for them. And they're not going to wait for our ignorance to stand their way. The only thing, if we do not listen in good time, we may become collateral damage to the kind of commotion that is lying ahead. We have a chance today to accept what the problem is and to accept what the solution is. The self-determination is merely the ingredient, that's the most important ingredient in resolving this matter. You must accept that these people have to decide for themselves, and it's only by referendum that you can ascertain what they want, whether it is 100% autonomy or 80% that you can get in confederation or 60% that you can get in a federation. It must be their decision in self-determination.
Great.
I think that's where we might have to.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Tony. My audience, our audience are asking us a question. Can we repeat this every Friday to educate more people for now until we get to where we're going? Of
course, this is priority.
Okay. Fantastic.
The only thing holding our people down is this ignorance. The day our people get to know, imagine if 1 million people, imagine if 1 million of the young people whose future have been compromised get to know all of this. Who is going to stand their way?
No, nobody.
We're actually the ones standing between. They can match upon the instructions already went. Let it be said loud and clear. This crowd on the street, these lazy young people in quotes, already have their battle script in their hand. They developed it by themselves upon the knowledge they got. Yeah. And the people they're going to be going after, the people they're going to have issues with, are people from their own parts who are sustaining this constitution. Let families talk to their families, their fathers and their mothers who are helping sustain this constitution by playing politics, by being political party members under it, by contesting election under it, by refusing to stand with the people for this constitution to be taken down. If this snap, all of those identified will be the target and object of engagement for this mob, this crowd that is building up. Yeah. They are not going to go back to their house until they hear a definite pronouncement on how this constitution will be jettisoned by the government. Okay. The constitutional force majeure we were talking about, is that the owners of Nigeria have now come to enforce their own will in the matter of the social contract. The constitution is a social contract. Like every other contract, there's always provision for force majeure to suspend obligations if extraordinary circumstances arise in the in the contract that make performance impossible. The extraordinary circumstances that have arisen in the Nigerian social contract, that's the constitution, is that they have one side of the country, one section, small section of the country has truncated the federation we thought we were building. We are no longer a federation. We are now a unitary state. One section of the country has truncated the union of equal partnership we thought we were building. One section of the country that imposed Sharia has now made human life not sacrosanct. We insist that human life must be sacrosanct. And with all of that, we can see more of what they are doing, threatening us that they are coming to take our lands, having seized our assets before, to exterminate us. We now consider these items sufficient extraordinary circumstances to declare an emergency around the social contract. That's what the force majeure that we're talking about is. The owners of Nigeria are coming to say, we suspend obligations. It's not going to, there will be a time frame within which discussions can still happen. The US took 7 months to listen to all these details last year. Let nobody be under any illusion. They took their time. All the departments of government that need to understand, all the instruments that need to be signed have been signed for how these matters can be brought into alignment with their own, objective, with their own national security, concerns in our sub-region. The US is at war with ISIS. Somebody brings in ISIS to reinforce. That's the battlefield we are in. That's the battlefield we are caught in. Al-Qaeda is coming from the other flank to join. That's the battlefield we are caught in. And people are still discussing the election in 2023.
Yeah.
The battle is here already. People are being killed. All of those who are dying in all the places where Fulani herdsmen turn up, so-called Fulani herdsmen, the Fulani militia, turn up from everywhere. They are just people dying in this war. It's already here. We have a chance to reverse the situation by putting this constitution at the center of the discussion.
Can I ask you one question? Have you got time to take some call from our audience, or should we leave that till next week? Should we take some calls?
If anybody wants to call, we're here.
Okay.
The reason I chose to come to your station, we could have been addressing them in their places of gathering, but I looked at the numbers. In Lagos alone, more than 10 places. They're in Port Harcourt, they're in Benin, they're in Owerri, everywhere. We said, okay, instead of going one after the other, let us first address everybody from an electronic platform. And so we are in the rally. All of what you've had here could have been delivered from the podium of the rally, like I said, but it will have been a rowdy, some of the young people, if we don't manage this information, if we don't act quickly enough, some of the young people that are going to find out that they are being scammed by people they thought were looking out for them are going to do it their own way. So we have a choice to solve the matter, or we head on to wherever they take us. They are the ones who are on the steering. Nobody's going to ask them to relinquish the steering because they've waited long enough. And what did they get for their patience? Nothing. They were called lazy.
Absolutely nothing.
They were called lazy. People who have done their part and the society is failing them. And you thought it would remain like that for all times, or that you go get gun and point at everybody. Let the phone lines open.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the phone lines are open now. We're going to try and take some few calls. We might not take a lot because we have another program starting shortly. But the good things about it is that I want to tell you guys, all the people listening to this broadcast at the location of all the protest location, please, you might not have the link to the petition because you're watching from a big screen at the location. Please, the Protecting Southern and Middle Belt Nigerian People is the title of the petition. Please go there, sign the petition, please. I'm begging you, it is very, very important because this will help in finding a lasting solution to this problem. Until this constitution go down, we're not going anywhere. And the good thing is that these guys are awake. The youths, they know what they want, they know what they're looking for, and they know how to get what they're looking for because they have their own mindset. Nobody is going to drive them. They were called lazy, but today they're not lazy. They are so organized. 600 lawyers waiting to rescue anybody at that protest location. 600 doctors. And guy, by the way, protests in London tomorrow, Saturday, the 17th of October 2020. And in London again, Downing Street is the venue, the gate of Downing Street. Heritage Television will be there to bring it live to every part of the world, live, in the most constructive way. In the most constructive way, we will beam it out live at its happening. I will be there. Will you be there? Come out in thousands to support. Come out in millions to support these young guys. Don't come and truncate it. Don't come and take over. No, I don't want you to take over because they don't want us to take over. You know how they behave at home? Daddy, don't come to my party.
They've
No.
already defined where they want to land.
Where
So
they want to go,
anybody who
yes.
is coming at a risk to himself.
Yes. So we don't want anybody
You
to
saw
come and
what happened with
truncate it.
Shawore. You saw what happened with Shawore the other day. The people Shawore came to talk to already knew more. You talk about revolution now. You're talking about election. How you can go and be president. That is the solution to Nigeria. With all of this, what do you know about this? What do you care to know? You want to build a political career on the blood of dying people, playing pranks, having participated in bringing this calamity in government house today, and all of those who are. Let us look at the people who brought about this situation we're trying to contend with now.
I think I might have my first caller. I'm not sure if Daddy wants to get involved with the program. Daddy, if you want to get involved with the program, then hold on there, please. I'm going to put you through in 1 second. Do you have a question for our guest tonight, Tony Nnadi? If not, Daddy, I can call you back when I finish this program. But the good thing about it all is the 1999 Constitution is not working, and we have to put it down.
It's a fraud. It's a fraud. Not just that it's not working. It was designed to make Nigeria the criminal enterprise the British designed it to be. We have the documents. We have the documents from the British archives that indicate that they were clear-minded in creating Nigeria to be a criminal enterprise in which stakeholders who are in government house are able to take everything they find there without consequence. That's how we came about the police that's not accountable to us. That's how we came about a judiciary that is made subject to the executive branch. That's how we came about all the constitutions that Nigeria has had since 1914 to facilitate this haste, this coming to take the resources away unchallenged. They handed over in 1960 to people, the local agents who are still carrying on. And that was why Ahmadu Bello could tell us what he said in 1960, October of 1960, that the new country called Nigeria should be an estate of their great grandfather Othman Dan Fodio, and that on no account should the power equation be allowed to change. We're still living with that. This constitution,
Tony,
is a product.
I have your first caller for you. Nnadi,
right.
Our father, Olu Abiola, OBE, is on the line with you. He wants to speak to you. Daddy, go ahead, sir. Your question, sir. I don't think the man understands Yoruba. Daddy.
I know, but for the rest of our prayer.
Okay.
Good morning. God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
My question, as I take one first and foremost, as Nigeria has got the constitution, because in my own opinion, Nigeria has no constitution. The constitution that is used at the moment was written and got together by somebody who hope to rule Nigeria forever. And that is Abacha. Abacha's constitution is what you are using now, which is wrong and not acceptable. Secondly, there are so many appointments which are not necessary for Nigeria at the moment in our stage. Now, there is still need for governments in Nigeria. We are not a colony. The people are protesting now, that the people they are voted for are not doing what they wanted them to do. They are doing their own thing. We are the colonial authority ourselves. Nigeria don't need governors. We don't need governors. Now, another thing is, even politicians are not necessary. For Yoruba in particular, Yorubas have their kings, the Orbans are the chiefs, who represent them or speak for them and look after them. These our Orbans have not been trampled on the floor They haven't expected anymore. The government can dismiss them on the level of office. The others in the Yoruba land are the traditional rulers. They are natural rulers. There's a lot of to talk about that, but I don't want to waste your time. So we don't need governments in Nigeria. We don't need House of Representatives or House of Chiefs or Senate. What we need is all the emas, the southerners, the urban to take control of their people and get them organized. We don't need governors in Nigeria. We don't need the executives in Nigeria. Because our others, the southerners, the emas, they represent the people. They are the ones who should be in control in Nigeria at the moment. And things will be better. I have a lot to say, but that's what I want to have your opinion about. We do not need governors in Nigeria. It's a waste of money, waste of opportunity, and it's dumping on our others, our natural rulers. They are our representatives. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Daddy. That is Daddy Olu Abiola. Daddy is about 92, 93 years old, and he has a lot of wisdom, godly wisdom, human wisdom, even experience under his belt. Daddy, we want to give you a very big thank you. You can continue listening to the program on your device while I try to bring some more calls in. Thank you for your advice, Dad. I have Ayo Ogundimo, our constitutional expert, on the line with you. I'm not sure if Mr. Tony is still there. Have I lost you? I think I might have lost Tony. Tony, if you can hear me, please try and reconnect. Please try and reconnect. While we're waiting for Tony to reconnect, people are asking me for the venue of the protest tomorrow in London. It's in London. If you are in London, if you are out of London, if you're in Birmingham, Manchester, Wales, Scotland, anywhere you are, Brighton, please give it a go. Come to London tomorrow. Come to London. You can stay with some relatives. Come and fight for your rights. Come and fight for your life. Come and fight for your children's life and rights. Come. We do social distancing. Make sure you bring your nose covering, your face masks while you're coming. In other parts of the world, they're protesting Nigeria, every part of Nigeria, especially the southern part. We're still waiting for Tony to come back. Okay, Tony is trying to call me. Let me just try and speak to him quickly. 1 minute, please. Tony said he's ready to come back again, so he's not gone yet. He's still here with us. So let me just keep monitoring him. I got Ayo Ogundimo on the line before I put Abba Olono on the line, but we're waiting for Tony to come back. I'm going to give Tony, our constitutional expert, the chance to go first before anybody, and then I'm going to have Abba Olono, Mr. Paul, Professor Paul Oni, who is going to be speaking to Tony. But let's wait for Tony to come back. Tomorrow, in London, in central London, the program is ongoing tomorrow in central London. Oh, fantastic. I can see him knocking on the door. Now, I'm waiting for it to go green. As soon as it goes green, we will continue the program. Ayo Ogundimo is the one who's going to go first. I know Dr. Pauloni, I know you're on the line with us as well. Tony tried to come in. He lost it. I think he's going to try again. If not, I might have to reset him up quickly. Let's see. He's trying to put his key through the door. 11:22, yes. Let's see. He tried some few minutes ago before he lost it. So let's see if this is going to come in now. I don't want anything to truncate this information we're putting out today. So like I was saying to you guys, yeah, tomorrow, London, Downing Street. Caller on the landline. I'm going to put you on hold for a second. Caller on the line. you have to wait there, please. Now I have 3 people waiting. Tony cannot make it. Poloni, I'm gonna call you back there. Let me try and bring. I will pin the number in a minute.
Is it a British number? Can I stay on the line? Is it British number?
It's a British number. You can stay on the line. Or if you want me to call you back, I can call you back, man.
No. It's fine. I can stay on.
Okay, stay on then, yeah. I'm gonna call you back, Dr. Poloni, because I need to make sure Tony comes. Hold on, don't worry, stay there. So Dr. Poloni, stay there, please, yeah. Let's try and bring our man back. We lost him, but it's not the end of the world. Technology is working for us this morning. I actually want to ask him what network is he using from location 9, because his reception seems to be very, very good. Okay, this is the new link for you, sir. Let's send you the new invitation. Invitation sent to Mr. Tony. He hasn't opened it. Let's see. He's delivered. Okay, fantastic. He should be here he should be back anytime from now. While we're waiting for that, yeah. I know Tony knows what Mr. Ayo Ogundimo, our constitution expert, wants to talk about. Mr. Ayo, I'm gonna send you a link so that I can actually bring you in live, so that our audience can actually see you. So expect your link in 1 second, Mr. Ayo Ogundimo. So Ayo Ogundimo, you can put the phone down. I'm gonna send you a link so that you can come into the studio yourself. We'd love to see your face. You've been part of this all along the line, and we're working for the same call. Is that okay, Mr. Ayo?
Yes.
Okay. I'll send you a link now so that you can come in. So let's give it to my young lady on the line. Even though Tony might not be hearing you, but go ahead. Ask a question.
He's not going to hear me. I need him to hear me.
Okay, hold on then. Let him come back. Yeah, just hold on. Stay there. Let him come back. Yeah. Thank you. Dr. Poloni, while we're waiting for Tony, I think Poloni is gone. Okay. Let me try and fix Ayo in as well and have a look at where Tony has gotten to on my radar. Thank you, everybody, for joining me this morning. I really appreciate you. Without you, we cannot be here. And together, we're doing a fantastic job. If you have not shared this program, please kindly do me a favor. Share it as a matter of urgency so that other people can actually benefit from it as well. 11:24, 11:25. So he's trying to come in again. And he's an expert. I didn't even give him any instruction on how to come in the first case. And he managed to come in. So let's bring Ayo in while we're waiting for Tony Nnadi, who has been briefing us and educating us on everything that has to do with what we are doing this morning. Ogundimo.
Okay, he's ready to come back.
Yes, I believe he's ready to come back, but he hasn't reached my door yet. I can see him trying to put his key through the door, but I haven't seen him inside yet. Okay. Mr. Tony, if you can hear me, could you please turn your device off and on again? I think he's there. He's here. I can see him. Wow, fantastic. He's back. Tony is back. Okay, while we're waiting for Ayo Ogundimo, I have a young princess on the phone that wants to speak to you. Caller, your name, where you're calling from, and go on. Tony is hearing you now. Tony, can you hear me? No, hold on 1 second. He can't hear me. Tony, can you hear me? No? No, he can't hear me. Okay, do me a big favor. Oh. Okay, let me try this some sign language. Tony, disconnect. Okay. He cannot hear me, but he might have to retry. Tony, please come out and retry again. Please come out and retry. Okay, I've sent him a message. Hopefully, he might get the message. No, it's not getting it. So let me try and find another means of communicating with him because he cannot hear me. So 1 second, Mr. Tony. 1 second, please. Let's bring another one in that I can use to send a message directly to his machine. so you can see it. Okay, let's try this. Guys, I'm so sorry for keeping you waiting. We're just battling to bring Tony back. And the lady on the line, I really appreciate your call this morning. Thank you for joining us. Have you signed the petition by any chance?
I couldn't find it. I thought it'd be attached to this live, but it wasn't.
It's right at the bottom of the broadcast. It's right at the bottom of the broadcast.
In the description.
Yes.
No, it's not. It's saying something else. It's not. It doesn't say petition. It says. Facebook. It says like our Facebook.
It's still more. There's still more at the bottom of it. There's still more links there.
All right, I'll go back and look.
Please, yeah, but stay there so that we can bring Tony back.
He's switched off completely now from the screen.
No, I think he's trying to reconnect. Like I've just sent him a message to say, please reconnect. Okay, he's coming back again now. I can see.
I can see that it might be the network not strong enough because my screen looks slightly blurry, so it looks like it might be the connection.
It might take some time for it to get to you. I think we put about 30 seconds delay in the program, so in case somebody wants to do something funny. Okay, I am there. Tony, can you hear me now? Oh my world. What's going on?
Don't believe it.
Tony, can you hear me? I can't hear him as well, which is a shame. I cannot hear him. Okay, Citizen AY is trying to come in. Let's try and find out what is wrong with this thing here, which is not normally something that's. Let me see. 1 minute, please, guys. We're very sorry for this. We're trying everything to fix it.
It's all right.
It doesn't. Thank you. It doesn't have audio for Tony. So how come I don't have audio for Tony? Okay, I have audio for Tony. Okay, I'm gonna have to call Tony again. Can you hear me, Tony? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah, but I cannot. I cannot hear you. No, you, me, here, no. So turn your phone off. Your phone, turn it off, and we start again. Okay. Thank God I've managed to do that. While we're waiting for that, I think Mr. Ogundimu is probably here now. Mr. Ogundimu, your network look blurry. Hey, let's see.
Hey, is that gone?
Yeah, yours is delayed. It's gone again. It's gone again because we couldn't speak to you. Guys, I'm so sorry, awful so sorry for this. Wow, guys, you are online. There's so many people online. Yeah. Okay, so thank you very much. Yeah, everybody watching this program, please and please and please, Mr. Michael, they're not gonna go away. They're not gonna go away. They're gonna be on the street for as long as it takes. Did you remember the uprising in Hong Kong? Did you remember? And if you want to come and insult anybody on my program, please stay away from my program. Don't insult anybody intelligence. If you want to start writing some stupid comment on my program, I don't entertain that. We need to work together on this regardless of where you stand. It doesn't matter where you stand. It doesn't matter. We're fighting the same cause. So please, don't come and insult anybody on my program. I don't want it. Okay, we got Citizen AY. While we're trying to get Tony back, Citizen AY is back on the line. Citizen AY, can you hear me? Citizen AY. Okay, this program is on Facebook, it's on YouTube, it's not on Twitter this morning because Twitter rejected it. We sent it to Twitter, but it rejected it. I can send it to you if you call the studio number or send me a link, send me on WhatsApp. The number to send it to is right at the bottom of the description. Right at the bottom of the description. I think Tony is back. Ayo, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, fantastic. Tony, I can hear you too.
Right.
Bingo.
Okay.
The only person I can hear right now is Ayo. Ayo, I cannot hear you. But stay there, Ayo, sitting there. Why? Stay there. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to let the lady who's been waiting for some time to ask a question quickly. Lady, your name and where you're calling from, and so that Tony can take your question. Go ahead.
All right. I'm only entitled to only one question.
I'll give it to you. You can ask more than one. Yeah, please.
My name is Ademike. I'll withhold my surname. I just want to say, first of all, Dr. Payne, and it's a pleasure to speak to you, because I've been following you for 2 years now, and you've done some great work. I've actually, based on your work, used some of your research to do a YouTube video. My YouTube page is Kaya Loving. Just to say that there are a few pointers. I just wanted to say, I kind of think that the whole world is in sync with everything going on at the moment with America and Trump and everything, and I just feel like with everything is kind of linked. And the whole thing happening in Nigeria now is like, we are expected to do this because we're expected to free ourselves. So it leads me on to the question, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, I hear you.
I have to mute my TV. And my first question is, we do have to be careful, though, about other agents, deep state, hijacking this movement. That's what I'm worried about. And the question to him is he considering this? Because we know that with the BLM movement in America, it was hijacked by Antifa. And we know that the money from BLM and Antifa is redirected to the Biden campaign. And so I want to kind of propose the question to him that, is he concerned at all that this movement would be hijacked by the deep state, which is our oppressors, because they do this every time. Once we're trying to free ourselves, they reroute us back into the pen.
Did you get that? Will it be hijacked? Over to you, Tony. Sis, you can listen to the answer.
No, I can assure the caller that all of what could be the motive and mechanism for hijacking had been thought about. The demand of the protests are such that there's nothing to hijack. The protest, the movement has assumed a life of its own, and its demands are so very, simple that you can't bend it. The matter of the constitution being the problem is something there's nobody that can come and tell them that constitution is no longer the problem. It is not about the political party people. Initially, the sitting government, the ruling party wanted to present it as something being sponsored by the PDP or the opposition. Some elements in PDP may want to say, oh, APC has failed. Now come trust us again. Those are not the pursuits of the movement. That's the movement is after a more fundamental thing that treats APC and PDP as what you could call they are co-travelers on that wrong ship. They are they are the same, one and the same, as long as it's that constitution they want to hang on to. So there's there's nothing to hijack really. The genie is out of the bottle already. The young people are on the street. They've identified the constitution as the problem, and there's nothing that will come between them and taking down that constitution. The only choice to be made now is how we want to manage that process. Do we want to wait for it to become disorderly first, for people to be killed on such a scale? Because the union is now up in dispute. The union is disputed. The constitution that brings us together is what is being rejected. I think I will let me switch on to another power, another set. Just the power has gone down in this, and it doesn't seem to be connecting properly. You notice that the lighting is reducing. Is about the power.
No, don't worry about the lighting. The thing has to adjust itself, so we can hear you. It's fine.
All right.
It's fine by us.
Right. Okay. All right. If it's still good, So that's what it is. There's nothing to hijack. People are watching out for them. They've come from all angles to try to hijack the people who are staging revolution, fake revolution that relate only to elections. It's not about the election. The people talking about free and fair election, ask them by what constitution would the winner govern. If it is this 1999 constitution, tell them we say they are criminals. They should get away. The ones who say they are going to provide better leadership under this constitution is like saying I'm going to be able to fetch water with basket. This constitution is the basket, and you can't fetch water with it that will go to these youth that are on the street now. Everything they require to succeed have been made impossible by this constitution. The security we seek, all of us seek for ourselves, have been made impossible by this constitution. Everything. So let us turn off the tap. Let us turn off the tap. Everything else we do is a matter of mopping. Even if you bring an angel to come and run Nigeria under this constitution, that angel will fail, because all the provisions, everything you see happening are the things mandated by this constitution. If the only thing that comes out of this process is that this constitution goes down, whatever else comes will be a product of discussion. Nobody's going to be able to introduce any kind of violence. The people who are talking about calling us soldiers is not, because those soldiers also come from some places. If you are not going to bring out only Fulani soldiers to overwhelm the rest of Middle Belt and Southern Nigeria, we are waiting. Let's see how it all goes. ISIS is in your midst. Al-Qaeda is coming to join you. There's nothing we can see that assures us you are not in camp, you're not in bed with them. Those who ought to know now know. They are saying it loudly. So it's no longer a matter of let's go and give them some trickles. But again, I have to caution the people from the South and Middle Belt who are helping to uphold this constitution. You are the one these young people will be coming for individually. If they have, whatever be the families of those people who are holding onto this constitution from South and Middle Belt of Nigeria, whether they are senators, whether they are house members, whether they are in the state assemblies, whether they are as governors, whether they are in political party planning to go to another election under this constitution, you are putting yourself on a head-on collision with this angry mob. You are putting yourself on a head-on collision with a crowd that has nothing to lose anymore. We can avoid the fool if you think you can push them back. The day they decide to come for, if anything begins to happen, they already have their instructions on who is responsible. So it won't be a matter of somebody sent them to come after. No, all of those on the side of this constitution are the ones this crowd will be looking for. If things snap, we have a chance to stand with our people and reject this constitution now, not tomorrow. Anybody who does not speak up, whether you are in politics or you are in the church or you are in civil society or you are a lawyer, anybody who does not speak up now in favor of jettisoning this constitution immediately is a part of the problem. And when this crowd will move away from being in one place, they will be coming for such people if they can identify them. And it will be an objective identification. The reason they are clinging onto this constitution is because of the humongous personal profits it brings to them. Look at how much money gets paid to the senators and the house members. Look at how much money the governors take away because the constitution permits them not to account for it. In the National Assembly, the one you hear they call constituency projects is because the executive branch has the spare key to the treasury. And then they are taking their own from what the executive should have been controlling alone. So they cooperate among themselves. They leave the people in the rain. They leave them to die. They leave them to their own devices. Are we still there?
Thank you very much. I have another caller from I think it's somewhere from West Africa. This number looks strange to me. Sir, could you go ahead? Your question, sir. Doctor, are you still there? Dr. Paul Oni.
While we wait for him, the caller, the protesters are saying the constitution must go down. The protesters are saying no further elections. No further elections will be tolerated under this constitution. National election. We're not concerned about the municipal or state, off-season elections. We're talking about 2023 election. The preparation towards it, the preparation towards 2023 is an affront on the sovereignty of the people, is an affront to these young people who are rejecting this constitution, because you are telling them that's why it was that's why Mahmoud, the one that is INEC chairman, had to rush forward with a date of election for 2023 just to see who he can deceive among the people who are asking for something different. It's not about electoral reform. It's not something about constitutional amendment. It's about no further elections will be tolerated under this apartheid constitution. And the preparations for any further elections must cease inside 2020. The owners of Nigeria are coming out to say that nobody can go in their name any further to go and be part of contesting election under this constitution. So if you are from the part that is rejecting the constitution, go back to that map. The other part is clinging onto the map, onto the constitution. The South and Middle Belt have repudiated the constitution. If you are from the South and you are from the Middle Belt, and you are one of those planning to go to election in 2023 under this constitution, I can assure you, you will have a sad tale to tell from the hands of those whose lives have been compromised by your associates who are running Nigeria on the basis of this fraudulent constitution.
Fantastic, thank you. Doctor, go ahead now, please, yeah? Dr. Paul Oni, go ahead now.
Yes. I hope you can hear me loud and clear.
We can hear you very loud and clear, sir.
Thank you very much, our great man in the house, Tony.
Thank you.
Tony, thank you so much.
Go ahead, he can hear you, sir. He can hear you. He's responding to you.
I like all you have said, and we are with you in total. The only aspect I would love to correct the mistake that we are making and we are trying to make, that I would love us to correct in all our broadcasts, is that the fact that the British are against us, the British enslaved us. No doubt they contributed to our enslavement, but through research, we have discovered that our own people put themselves in this mess. They put themselves in this mess.
Let's not waste any further. Let's not waste time. Yeah. I have documents with me here, just that people may not be able to see it. I have documents that justify what we say they did.
Yeah.
Yes, I have documents here. See whether you see any date. Look well. Whether you see 1912. Whether you see 1912 on this document. I have documents here that show exactly what is at the foundation we're building upon. Our fathers did not know what the British put together. I had the privilege of asking those who went to those discussions in Lancaster House. Enohoro spent the last 7 years of his life trying to help get us out of this entrapment. The British were clear-minded in what they set up to do. They are still maintaining it by every crook and the foul means possible. You saw the Archbishop of Canterbury rolling out red carpet for Buhari at the peak of the killings happening. If not that the US has taken a position, it's because the US has taken a position that touch on their national security. That's why the British House of Lords began to talk about ethnic cleansing. Did they not know it was ethnic cleansing all the while? Chatham House and the rest? Please, we do know what's going on. Don't let anybody come to fool anybody. The Britain that cannot put a carrier to sea in 2020 is not the Britain that controlled the seas in 1967. We carefully measured all of the options and we went for the one that we could manage. Britain can do its worst. They put us in this. They still want to keep the profits. That's why they're supporting the people that are doing all kinds of things. We have an answer to the question now, to our problems now. They can take their solutions elsewhere. That's what it is. They're the ones presiding over this misery we are in. It doesn't bother them as long as 3 million barrels of crude oil still flow. Go and find out as recent as this lockdown. They came to town. They went to the Niger Delta. They began to tell them, why don't you leave the Igbo people and their Biafra? We will do restructuring for you. All kinds of things are going on. They think we won't know. We got to know what they're doing. They're trying to save the day for their words.
To allow me speak.
He wants to say something. Go ahead, sir.
No, you were suggesting. I'm just answering you on the question of the fact that the British are completely on the side of our enemy on this matter.
That's what it is. Let him ask the question. Go ahead, sir.
Ask your question. Other than that.
Okay. Now that you say I should go ahead, I want you to understand that if we do not move away from this past position that you are holding, the 1912
is present, is current, is present, is present, is current.
They control the parliament,
is present, is current.
Control everything. But they were also in contact with our people. We are talking close to independence. We are talking 1945. We are talking 1949 to 1950. That time you are showing us is far back. That's when the amalgamation started. But towards the independence, when we had the opportunity of putting the secession clause in our constitution, our people rejected it. Our people threw it out. They accepted a constitution that is a national constitution that does not accept referendum.
Doctor, I think we lost Tony a little bit. We lost Tony.
That does not accept the secession clause. And it is within that same old constitution that they have brought out this useless one that they are operating. So I want to advise that my people normally say in Yoruba that we should look for more friends and not more enemies. We are not fighting the British here. We are not fighting the West here. It does not favor us to fight them. What we are doing inside Nigeria is to look for our freedom. And in this world that we are in now, in this planet Earth that we are in now, the West is in control. So what does it favor anybody to continue to cut their enmity? What does it favor anybody? Where will that one get us? By fighting the British, by fighting the US, where will that one get us? When there are people that are propounding freedom, there are people that are putting sanctions on those that rig your elections, there are people that are talking against killings. Why are we always now using them as our enemy? What do we gain in that? And again, finally, let me tell you that the protest going on in Nigeria is a gradual process. Àwọn Yorùbá máa ń sọ pé wẹ́rẹ́wẹ́rẹ́ nínú ètò tó bá dókè á bù làlà. That is, fire burns gradually up to the time it will explode. We have not gotten to the time to the portion you are talking about, especially in the southwest, in the middle belt, and generally in the south. What they are using now is a protest against police harassment, which is gradually moving towards asking for, balance of government, independence and all. We, myself, the old ones, we are going out tomorrow. Our children are outside, they've been outside. They have been outside since morning, they'll be outside tomorrow, they'll be outside on Sunday. We, the elderly ones, we have organized what we call the Christian parades, which is a Christian protest walk. We call it prayer walk. We are going to start it tomorrow morning. Elderly people, all pastors, all church members, they'll be on the streets, starting from Abeokuta, all over the southwest, all over the south. So let us follow it step by step. When you blow like this, we that will be inside, we should educate you on the level of our program. We are going together. Everything you are saying is what we want, is what we are going to do. But it's a gradual process. And we don't want you to continuously cut the enmity of the British and the enmity of the West. That is not the goal. That will get us nowhere. It will get us nowhere.
Okay.
That is my contribution.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. We really appreciate your contribution, sir. Thank you. I'm going to let you go so that you can listen to it on your device so that I can let other people have the access to the thing. Mr. Tony is trying to come in. So while we're waiting for Mr. Tony, I'm going to lay Ayo Ogundimu, who is our in-house constitution expert. Mr. Ayo Ogundimu, welcome to the program. How are you doing, sir?
Good. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you all right, sir. We can hear you all right.
Good.
Great. So what do you have to say to all what we're doing this morning, sir?
Well, I want to first of all congratulate Heritage TV for the sterling work that's been done.
No. You can't. Sorry, sir. You can't congratulate Heritage TV on this one. We are doing it together. You are doing it.
Yes.
Even the people listening. I don't want anybody to take glory for what we're doing. We are in it all together. We are working on it together. Even the people that's just giving them water at the protest venue, they're doing something. So it is not a matter that we don't want anybody to take glory for this at all.
Exactly.
You are doing a lot of work. You, Ayo Ogundimu, you're doing a lot of work. Koiki is doing a lot of work, and we are all doing it together. I thank all the people who are not splitting out abuse anymore. I thank you guys for not splitting abuse. The reason I don't want us to split abuse is that we just want to continue doing what we're doing in a friendly way. Someone was asking me here, they said, when we finally break up, does it mean these people will be fighting us guerrilla war in our new nation? I don't think so. I don't think so. If we have the right system in place, if you want to fight guerrilla war, come and fight guerrilla war. The people that are fighting guerrilla war, they will face the consequences. And on top of that, another thing is that, before you speak, Ayo, another thing is that, don't be fooled. We should win the British American support. It's foolish to fight. We don't want to fight anybody anyway. So tomorrow is very important that you guys come out.
Yes.
You must come out.
Please do.
You must come out. You must come out. If anybody wants T-shirt for tomorrow, we can have a T-shirt says NSAS. We will have the one that says End Nigeria Now tomorrow. We're not doing that.
Yes.
Tony is trying to call me. Mr. Ayo, I'm going to give it to you. Talk to our people while I talk to Tony quickly, yeah? Go ahead, sir.
On the issue that our father, Dr. Nnadi, I believe, spoke about, it's two-sided. I think people should watch a story called The Journey of an African Colony. And when you watch that, it's on Netflix. Please, I urge you, every Nigerian should watch it. Now, the purpose of me saying that is not for you to judge the British or whatever. We just need to know what happened. Because you see, if you're going to fix your future, you need to know your past. And that is really important. So on that, I have a slight difference with my elderly father, and I, with all respect to them, but we need to know. If we don't know these things, we will keep making the same mistakes. And that ties into the current constitution that we have. I want to thank our great expert, legal expert, Nnadi, for the work he's been doing. Look, our people need to know this fact. I know he has been working tirelessly for years, and it's crystallized in this one moment where everybody is now listening. Our youths have taken decisions and said they are no longer prepared to accept being slaves in their own land. I am really, I'm so in awe of what they've done. They've got lawyers, they've got the protection for them, they've got everything organized. Without elders involved, they are ready to lead. Forget it. Anybody that says they're not ready to lead, they don't know what they're seeing. Our youth are ready. Now, there's something that Dr. Nnadi said, and I want to requote it for everybody. Until we dismantle and destroy this fraudulent constitution, until we destroy it and completely dismantle it, we're going nowhere. But in that meantime, I want us to key in into what he said. Section 14.2, and I'm reading it out to you. Sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. as it stands, the government have not been democratic. They've denied all the powers to the people. They've held all the powers to themselves. They've made themselves judge and jury on millions of Nigerians. They've killed people. They've taken action that resulted in the loss of life of many people. That is why we can no longer rely on this constitution. But I'm giving you section 14.2a. Sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through this constitution, derives all its powers. That's what the youth are doing right now. I want you to remember that's exactly what the youth are doing right now. And I want all youths now, have that on your phone. Section 14.2a. Until we dismantle that constitution, and it must be dismantled. We need, look, we either go our separate way via the referendum again, like Nnadi said, or if we are going to have anything to do with being in a nation together, a referendum whereby we're going to be going back to our regions. That's it. But this constitution as it stands is a fraud. This constitution as it stands is a fraud. And if anybody comes to defend this, all of the senators, all of the House of Reps, any government official coming from the South, we know where their interest lies. It's not in the goodwill and the wellness of the people and the improvement of their lives. It's in the improvement of their own pocket. So you cannot, as a citizen, knowing what we now know about the Constitution, knowing that nobody, you heard Nnadi said in 1977 and in 1999, how they lied. They said they asked the people, and the people were happy to accept this constitution, this fraudulent constitution. It's a lie. They never did. They never accepted it. They did not carry out a referendum to ask people in the South, in all the various regions. This was imposed. We are not in a democracy. And I'm trying to just roll back because I am feeling my emotions coming out when I'm talking about this. Because I know that millions of people have been denied their rightful place in that contraption. They've been denied because the government has suppressed, oppressed, killed. I'm talking of the likes of Ken Sarua. I'm talking like the likes of so many people. So many people. The Bengal governor. The former son that was killed, Ige. None of like no. Fawemi. I'm talking about because these people were speaking up for truth. So this constitution, there was something in red, which I actually quoted earlier on, if I can remember what it was. 16C. Hang on, let me say, no, is it 16.6C? I think it is. Let me just check. No, 1 second. Give me a minute, please. I'm just gonna give you.
Take your time. While we're fighting to bring Tony back as well.
Yeah. I'm just gonna give you. I want you to reread and understand just how bad the situation that we're in and why we can no longer support this fraudulent constitution. We are in support of what the youth are doing 1,000%. And I want you all to never relent. Never, ever relent. So I'm going to try and find that information for you. Just give me a minute. Because I'm really... For us as citizens, senior citizens, if you like, when you're over 50, this is not about us. The people that should lead the new nation that will emerge, they have to be below 50. I'm sorry to say it. And that's myself included. I'm excluding myself. They have to be below 50. Look at other nations around the world. In the US, a Nigerian is in line for being selected as a governor in the US. Tell me which state has a governor below 40 in that contraption. Tell me. I'll wait. I'm telling you, I will wait. You won't find it. Look, we are in a contraption that has enslaved us. Unfortunately, some of us have decided to take the easy way out and fall for crumbs at the expense of millions of lives. and we will not accept it. As the youth are speaking, like Tony Nnadi said, he said, and respectfully, sir, he said, look, the kids are watching. If any of our leaders in the South continue to support this constitution, they will know who to go for. The youth will come, will go for them, because they are the ones who are maintaining and ensuring we remain in enslavement in our own land. Even our water works has been overtaken by the federal government, and we know the federal government is nothing more than the Fulani-led contraction. We have no rights. We have no rights in that land. They can effectively bring in Fulanis and everybody else from other parts of Africa into our place without us having any power to stop them. So this, for us, that referendum is a must. The referendum has to happen within the Oduduwa land, Igbo land, Middle Belt, to the exclusion of the others, because it's the
Mr.
people
Ayo,
who are affected.
let's bring Tony in. I don't think we've got his picture. I think we've only got his audio as well. Tony, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. We didn't have your picture, but that's not the end of the world, because we're not going to let that one truncate what we're trying to achieve today. Yeah. Tomorrow, today, Sunday, Monday next week, all through next week, do you ever think this protest is going to end without a resolution? Tony?
Unless something that answers to this one item around the constitution, unless something that address that gives them, makes a pronouncement to the effect that this constitution can no longer be. This was the point South Africa reached in 1990. Anything short of that, things can only get worse, because these people now know that every other thing is a deceit. If a pronouncement is not made about the fact that this constitution will have to be jettisoned 100%, 100%, they have no quarrel with those in government house. Let nobody mix it up. They are not anarchists. We are not anarchists. We are saying let those already elected remain in nominal capacity for the transition. We must go to transition now to discuss the terms of the union, starting with whether we want to relate, that is the referendum first, then we come to discussing the terms if our people vote to be in the union. There's the preliminary objection. The preliminary objection here is the question of Sharia. That has to be taken off the table before any discussion of whether we want to be in union can even commence. Because Sharia, the adherents of Sharia owe it a duty of faith to kill the infidel. And that problem will never go away even if you resolve the one of equitable this and that. So that's the question of Sharia. Those who went to 12 state assemblies and passed Sharia and began to chop up people's hands. You saw the one that became senator later, the governor in Zamfara. How am I to make a distinction between what Boko Haram set out to do and what those 12 states set out to do? When Boko Haram still had time to give bulletins, you saw where they said they did not want democracy. They did not want constitutionalism. If those 12 states now pass Sharia and Boko Haram coming to enforce it for them the way we have seen, how am I to make a distinction between the fact that Shekau will go to Chibok to abduct 16-year-old girls, whereas the Senator Ahmed Yerima, the one that was governor in Zamfara, went to Egypt and bought a 13-year-old girl in the name of marriage that is Sharia allows, and he stood on the floor of Nigeria's national conference to tell us that that is what it will be. And he's representing him in the eyes of the world. And so we say that question of Sharia is the first reason why all of those who are now under that onslaught, who are facing that ethnic cleansing onslaught, being driven by the Fulani in the name of Islamization. There are two things. They had to call it Islam in order to bring support from outside, ISIS and co. But are they not killing Muslims in Zamfara? You said something, when you complain, they say, oh, but bandits are also killing. No, it is Fulani ethnic cleansing that is targeted against indigenous nationalities. It doesn't matter if you're Muslim. That's what's going on in Zamfara. That's what's going on in all the places you see going upside down in those places. It is Fulani ethnic cleansing disguised as jihad because they want to be able to get ISIS and some of the Middle East countries that stand there on one side or the other for Wahhabism. So that's what it is. Let nobody think they're going to deceive anybody any further. These details have been placed in the hands of those who need to act on it in high places in Washington. If anybody thinks that guns will solve it, the army you are going to send have people from all the sides. God save you, you choose to send Fulani army against everybody else. The map, keep that map on display. Everything, all this discussion will happen, will be moderated by that map. Both the white and the yellow. In that white, you also see that there are lines inside. The Yoruba that could be country of its own, if we can't find common ground, is clearly spelled out there. The lower Niger, that could be country of 70 million people, the whole of the South and Southeast ethnic nationalities are there. The middle belt, that will be country of 40-something million people. As I speak with you, their documentations are already at the UN at various stages for whatever will follow. But the first order of business, this constitution goes down. The question of Sharia is removed before any meeting can be called. No square inch under Sharia will be in any union these people in this other part that reject Sharia will accept. Let it be clear to everybody. It is when that one is removed and we have gone to a referendum to now commit to remaining in the union that we can begin to discuss whether the terms should go back to 63. If anybody takes Nigeria, sacrosanct. Therefore, we're only discussing the constitution of Nigeria. If this constitution goes down, the first order of business is not to write another constitution. These two questions raised by the preamble have to be taken in the order they will happen. Shall we the people submit our lands and our people to remain in union? Only referendums can answer that. And
okay,
that
Mr. Tony,
not take place.
just
Yes.
one final question before I let you go.
Yes.
Two things. You promised to come back next week Friday, which is the every Friday now. It's not going to be
just to review what has happened in the week.
In the week, yeah. So Friday the 23rd is the next time we're gonna have with Tony Nnadi. We're gonna call it 10 o'clock instead of 9 o'clock this morning so that we don't run late. We're about 10-15 minutes late before we start today, and it's not good in broadcast time. Tony, will you put your hand in your head and say, no matter what we do to this constitution, if you put this constitution in fire, destroy it, shred it, and incinerate it, no matter what language you want to use for it, will you ever think those people who are bent on killing the caliphate, they are killing the infidel, who are bent on dipping their Quran in the ocean, will you ever think they will have a change of mind instead of us trying to change them? Even if you're born in the same house, there are some people you can't change. Instead of trying to change these people, why don't we just walk away from them? The matter is the mediocrity that have been allowed to take a center stage. The man who was at the center of how this constitution emerged, Professor Awal Yadudu, the day before the national conference of 2014 took off, it was supposed to be. It was to begin on a Monday or so, and AIT invited everybody, invited us on a Sunday, 8 p.m. The evening before the conference was declared open. Yadudu sat next to me in that panel discussion of 2 hours for us to talk, because the delegates were already in Abuja. The whole country was in suspense. The national conference was to begin. Professor Yadudu was talking down on that initiative. Say, how can somebody be talking about sovereign conference when there's a government in place and all of that? I had to tell him to his face in that live interview that he is the example of the mediocrity that Nigeria has institutionalized. For him, professor of law, not to realize that our sovereignty is not in government, is not in anybody's hand. Our sovereignty remains with us. Like the owners of a company remain the owners of a company. The management they hire cannot now become the owners of the company. But what happened to us in 1966 is that the management we hired took over our company. And then the Fulani hijacked
from that federal government. That's where we are now. And the constitution enables them to keep it the way it is because they've managed to put their own people in charge of everybody everywhere, holding guns and holding all of us hostage. Now, the reason I went to this question of mediocrity, because even professors of law seem to be misled in this matter. The senior advocates seem to be illiterate on this subject. The question is that if the constitution goes down, the union is at an end. Who is begging them to change their mind? We're saying that the union first comes to an end. That is what we can get to. We wanted to go to Aburi in 1967. They hijacked the vessel and drove it to Abuja. We have seen the end of Abuja now. They want to go back to Aburi. Too late in the day. Those who wanted to go to Aburi have arrived at Araba by their own default. Araba we are now. The collapse of that constitution consolidates Araba for Yoruba, consolidates Araba for the East and the Middle Belt. It is from Araba we'll be discussing the journey to Aburi. That's where we are. It doesn't matter whether they change or they don't change. They are the ones who have to go work out their own salvation. You take you borrow money from everywhere you find, mortgaging our assets and building in your own side, and you think nobody's looking at it, nobody's going to see it. You mortgage our assets, borrowing billions and billions and billions of dollars to build, creating another economy away from our own. While you deploy, you say, oh, we are building agriculture. Everybody come, let us farm. You deploy herdsmen. You deploy your militia to occupy our farms. You use our money to build your dams and do your irrigation, and you are the one to now bring food for us, every kind of food. And we're supposed to fold our arms. When we have more potential to not only feed ourselves, our agriculture can take us everywhere. The Yoruba Western region under Awolowo was able to do what he was doing because it had its hands on its agriculture. The East was doing its palm oil and other things. Midwest was doing its rubber and other things. So much more can be done today. The only reason why you can't do any of that is that they seized the assets and now they deploy their armed militia to occupy our farms, killing our people. And then they tell us they are doing national agricultural this and that. Every time you hear national, every time you hear federal, every time you hear Nigerian, put Fulani there and read it again and see whether it doesn't make more sense. That's what we have become. The Nigeria we negotiated in Lancaster House died in 1966. The attempt to revive it in 1967 in Aburi was truncated by these same people. And now, everybody else agrees that we should go back to being in charge of our spaces in the Federation. They are the only ones saying no, because they've cornered all the guns. I'm sorry for them the day this matter becomes rifle show. No matter how many guns they have now, people who are facing death are going to have to find the means to defend themselves. This constitution goes down, the legitimacy, what we have to do now is to end the legitimacy of those pillars in our spaces. The taking down this constitution brings us to that the same day. The day this constitution goes down, a third party can come and draw the line between us. Those who have the capacity to do that for us are waiting for us to do just this. Anybody who is not part of doing it is working for the enemy. And that person is going to soon find himself head-on collision with his own people, not anybody else. We have offered them a transition, a soft landing for all the sides. Let us accept the constitution is the problem. This mob can say government of the day. If they redefine it by it may come to where they say government is the problem. We are sparing them that at this first stage. It may come to where government is the problem. It becomes the urgent thing to be resolved. We are saying constitution is the problem now. People are stuffing their ears. They sit in the National Assembly looking through the windows as if they fell from the sky. You are there in our name. We are saying your mandate does not include our sovereignty. For you to continue to sit there, you may vote in favor of one law or the other. The fact that you are sitting there is the reason why people are still sitting there making law. Come home. From the day we come out with this constitutional force majeure, they will be required to come home, stay away for